Welcome to the Vinden Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Link, and I'm joined by Jester.
Yeah, hello. It's good to be here on this rainy day.
It definitely is, This has been a long time in the making. We were just saying before, 20 years since we had our last radio show at local Liverpool Community Radio, Western Sydney.
Yeah, for the folks at home, just a little bit of background there. We ended up doing a bit of a thing on community radio. I think it was called Maximum Potential, something we ripped off from a Dolph Lundgren aerobics video that we found in the video shop. And that's showing our age. And we did that for a few months, and it was actually pretty good. We didn't really have any topics to talk about. We sort of just went on the fly.
Yeah, just read the newspaper and took stuff from the newspaper.
Yeah, and just talked about all sorts of stuff, music, movies, all that jazz. I'm pretty sure I remember the first time we did that. Remember I think I was going to play Toto. I think that was the first song after we did our intro, and then I forgot to mute the mic. I remember after that, and I was like, oh shit, that was effing stressful. And you looked at me going, oh crap, the mic's still on, and had to fucking turn it off. Yeah. And then you had to apologize back afterwards. So this is going to be a little bit raw with us. So because we are going to be talking about movies and all these and games and all sorts of different jazz. But this is our first one. So we could always script it and go by the numbers, but we found out that it's not our style. No. We found it was best that we just go with the flow. We're probably going to
too robotic, like the Terminator, if we script it,
or like a wooden Keanu Reeves in his early movies.
Yes, Point Break.
Yeah.
We may review
Johnny
Mnemonic at some point. Yeah, we may review them at some point.
Yeah,
I think we should.
Will. Yeah, I want room service.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go with the flow with this, and there'll probably be some mistakes along the way. So apologies for the folks at home, but strap in and. Yeah. Wait, what's your name again?
Link.
All right, cool. Sorry, I was going to go by original names here. Well, I'm Jester either way, but yeah, thanks, Link. Sorry, that was stuff up number one. There we go. All right, over to you.
Yeah, so I mentioned the Terminator before, which is sort of apt because we're looking at Terminator 1 and 2, two of our favorite movies. And I'm sure we're not alone in that sense, but you're the stats man, the year man with all these sort of things. When was Terminator 1? 84.
84, yeah. So it came out in I think it was released in October 26, 1984. For people that know the movie, the original intent for Terminator was supposed to be a B-grade horror movie. Sort of in line with like John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yes.
We all know it was like James Cameron's first big hit.
Yeah.
We did Piranha 2 before that, which is again a bit more of like a B-grade Roger Corman-esque type sort of horror movie, if you will.
And Lance Henriksen was meant to be the main dude, the Terminator.
Well, yeah, and not really. It was actually OJ. It was the Juice, right? OJ the Juice Simpson.
I thought they came out later and they said that was a rumor or something.
Oh look, I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, I was just reading stuff last night about. Because I was trying to get some background, and I was reading about Lance Henriksen and OJ and James Cameron. I think it came out later and said no, that wasn't exactly.
Oh, sorry, you are correct. Yeah. No, because the drawings he wrote, the
drawings
he
did
beforehand was like very much Lance Henriksen based as the Terminator, and then they wanted OJ because obviously a bit more of a bigger guy, but the whole deal about OJ being too friendly, ironically enough, that they thought he'd never hurt anyone, but that's each to their own interpretation. And then obviously I went to the Juice, and then it went from the Juice to the man Arnold.
And Arnold read for Kyle Reese first.
He did, but he didn't. He wanted to be Kyle Reese.
Yes.
But then obviously when that one-on-one interview happened, when he met James Cameron, he just looked at him and was like, "No, you're the Terminator." Yeah. And no doubt, if I was in his shoes and I saw the Austrian oak come and sit down with me and I look at his physique, I'd be like, yeah, definitely the Terminator. But I think, the original idea was that the Terminator was supposed to be someone who could just blend into anything, an infiltrator, like nothing that was too over the top.
Yeah.
But so the idea was supposed to be a B movie.
Yeah.
And, it came out in, they said October 26, 1984. And I think it was only made for around $6 million, give or take, 100,000 here or there, which, adjust for inflation now, that's probably around $18 million.
Yeah.
Which
is nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Because he made a lot of the robots and stuff himself, like the Hunter Killers. James Cameron, I'm talking about.
The designs, the drawing designs, yes.
Oh, he didn't. I thought he built them as well.
No, it was in conjunction with Stan Winston.
Okay.
So that was Stan Winston's first big gig. But he, obviously James Cameron had designed the exoskeleton. Yeah. And I think that was a lot from. You can read about it. He's even said it in interviews, about, he had a dream. He was sick. Yeah. He had the flu, and then he, had a dream about this metal skeleton coming out of a fire, which is pretty much replicated in the credits of T2. You know,
Yeah.
at the opening credits with
Yeah.
the Terminator coming through the flames.
Yeah.
That was his dream.
Yeah.
That was the old nightmare that he had. And then from there, that's when he drew that. And then obviously with the creation, you know, it was through Stan Winston and Fantasy 2 was also a special effects company,
Yeah.
which did a lot of B grade stuff afterwards. But a lot of their stuff was based on the matte paintings, the futuristic, you know, in the future, like all that sort of design.
Yeah.
But yeah, but in the box office ended up punching out from, again, $1984, six and a bit million, ended up pumping out $80 million approximately from the box office. So it smashed it.
Yes.
Um,
Unexpectedly. I don't think even the production company didn't know what they had when it was being made.
Well, okay, doing my quick math, you know, 3 times multiplier, 6 million, current dollars, 18 million. So if you're looking at 80, 8, 16, 240 million, you know, so for the company or the production company and the studios, it was huge.
Yeah, nice profit.
Massive profit. But it was also, although distributed by Orion.
Yes.
Right? And we'll get into
Did they also distribute RoboCop 3?
all RoboCop 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
That's why if you ever watch the initial... Okay, we're going into RoboCop just for 2 seconds. But, you know, if you watch the original RoboCop 2 teaser trailer, you can find them on YouTube. The ones that were released in the cinemas back in the 80s. It's got the Terminator music.
Right. Okay.
It's actually got it's got the Terminator theme that's actually in the trailer, which is pretty cool. But so it was the Orion was the studio head, but it was Hemdale, which was a not independent, but it was a partial production company that provided it with, you know, Galilean Herd, which again, common reports, you know, you can look all this stuff up. It's probably said a million times, and I just dropped a pen on the table. Off the table, sorry. Yep, sorry. You know, he sold the rights to Galilean Herd for $1. That's how much he sold the rights, which then Galilean Herd ended up becoming his wife during the production of Aliens. But that was pretty much, it was a cracker hit. It was supposed to be a B-grade movie and then ended up, you know, becoming this monster hit. And something unique as well too, you know, cyborgs, AI, all that stuff. It's nuts. You know, he's talking about, you know, there's scenes, and we'll go through the movie, but, you know, there's scenes with Kyle Reese talking about, you know, the artificial intelligence coming online for SAC NORAD, you know, and it's launching the missiles, you know, in 1997, and AI assuming control of the military and then obviously becoming self-aware. And it's pretty wild to think that in this current day and age, he's not far off, you know, give or take a decade or two, but that concept wasn't really not really well thought of, really. Computers were only starting to become a thing, you know, or they've been around, but they weren't at that level of thought, you know, about what artificial intelligence can do.
Yeah. And even, I suppose the genre of the movie, like you said, it crossed over into horror. Like, I think when I was a kid and I'd never seen it when I was quite young, I actually thought it was a horror movie because of this whole relentless robot sort of.
I think it is. I think it is. I don't think it's not action. Granted, well, according to me, of course, right? It's just there are action components in it, but if you think about action, right? Like Terminator 2, action. You know, like there's him, you know, what's it called? Shooting tear gas at the cops and the minigun and action, you know, being chased, you know, the T-1000 chasing Joe in the corner, you know, with the T-800 in tow on the motorcycle, action. In T1, you know, there's the police shootout, which, action, if you will, but that's not blown action. That is more, that's horrific, you know, because it's you know, but all the other components of it is horror based. You know, imagine someone knocking up at your door, you know, going, you know, knock, 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 and you answer it, and you're like, and he's like, you know, is it Link? And you're like, yeah, I'm Link. And then he kicks your fucking door down and then shoots you 10 times with the fucking pistol. Like that's scary, you know? So the tone of the film, even things when it comes to like the lighting of the film, the future sequences, it's horrific.
It has a very blue tone to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's blue. A lot of blue tone color.
Yeah,
which is really good. Which sort of got, I think, disillusioned. I think when it came to future installments in the franchise, but even the future was grim. It was horrific. Yeah. You know,
I think the future scenes in both movies are some of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
And I wanted a proper, and we're going to get into, you know, Salvation in our next episode, but with Terminator 3. But I always said if they do a third movie, it had to be set in the future and it had to have that same dark tone of the future scenes in 1 and 2. Like just that scene where Kyle Reese, we haven't even gone through the plot of the movie yet, so forgive me, but just that scene where he gets in the car and is like, driving off after blowing up the what's the big tank?
Oh, the
Terminator
Hunter
called?
Killer, the HK.
Yeah, but then he also throws
That grenade,
thing.
futuristic thingy underneath the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was just like, yeah, wow, I didn't expect that when I first saw it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, stunning sort of like oppressive sort of, feeling of what it's actually like to live there and just be hunted down by these machines, which are just titanic.
Or even like the one where Cole Reese is walking through the it's before
Oh,
the
the
Franco
tunnel.
the Franco
Yeah,
Colombo cameo in that.
That's my favorite scene.
But he's
That
walking
is my
through the
favorite
he's
scene.
walking through the tunnel, and he's looking at everyone there. There's a small family or group of people looking at a TV, and it's just flames.
Yeah.
There's a kid that found a rat,
Yeah.
for food.
Yeah.
Grim stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's not. It's again. It's got a very big horror vibe. And I know for me, I didn't watch. I watched Terminator 2 first.
Yeah.
That was the one that I used to sneak out and watch it on VHS when my parents went around, because God forbid I was allowed to watch anything that was. Well, MA wasn't a rating then, but anything that was R up or a high M, a hard M, But I watched that first. Then I watched the original Terminator, and it was such a different tone, different vibe. As you get older and start getting into more movies, and I'm a big John Carpenter fan. I love John Carpenter films. You see a bit of that Escape from New York, grim vibe in this, and yeah. So that's pretty much with Terminator, we've sort of bit of the budget and the production company behind it and sort of how it all worked. Again, I think the big standout is also just the animatronics behind it and the effects at the time.
Yes.
Some of it can look a bit dated now.
I didn't mind it. I watched it. I bought it on Blu-ray for this review, and I rewatched it for the first time in years. And like that last scene, where the exoskeleton appears, and Schwarzenegger, the flesh is gone and everything. It was done with that stop motion sort of stuff. I didn't mind it. I was like, this works for the time, and I don't mind it now, but. Obviously, if they made it now, it'd be a lot different. It'd be CGI, but
it'd be trash. It'd be absolute garbage. If it was all CGI, it'd be absolute garbage. Reference Terminator Genesis and Dark Fate, right?
Practical effects.
Practical
effects are something we can look back on, and they do have their place.
Yeah, I think the only one that I guess sort of looked a little bit, you forgive it, right? Because at the time, it was probably mind blowing and real. But it was the part when Arnold, takes out his eyeball.
Yes.
And then, you see the actual exoskeleton eye, and then he puts the gargoyle sunglasses on.
Yeah.
And then, you could tell it's not his face.
Yeah.
Arnold's got the arms around the pup, but still for the time with the animatronics, it would have been mind-blowing stuff. Yeah. But again, I think in today's environment, we went through a phase of practical effects through to CGI. Yeah. And I think now a lot of us, especially hardcore movie buffs, a lot of us long back for animatronic work, stop motion work, compared to CGI, because you can anything can make with CGI. The art is lost, when it comes to making effects with old school animatronic work, stop motion work, models, those things. And so, you forgive those things that have aged a little bit, like that particular scene.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, those gargoyle glasses, Sunnies?
Yeah.
I looked them up because I was actually curious. I thought, mate, I've got to see if I can get a pair. Go on eBay, and they're going for around 600, give or take, US dollars for those 1983 or 84 gargoyle Sunnies.
Right. Just because they were famous from the movie, or
I guess so. I think gargoyle. Oh, again, in here in Australia, gargoyles aren't really so much a common brand of sunglasses.
Right.
I couldn't speak about how it was back in the 80s and 90s because I don't know, but they're not much of a prominent brand here.
Right.
But maybe, no doubt, the particular, because they still sell gargoyles, right?
Yeah.
But that particular model, and I can't remember for the life of me what that model number's called, but you type in gargoyles 1984 Terminator Sunnies, and they're all used, obviously. They're not brand new. But they're going for a wicked amount of money. Yeah. Wicked amount of money.
Right. Well, if you can find them cheaper than 600, we'd really like to know.
Yeah. Put it in the comments. Yeah. All right. So hey, Link, how about you kick off with a bit of the synopsis of the Terminator, the OG.
Yeah, so we've already sort of skimmed over the top of it. So nuclear war and, Skynet, caused by Skynet, the AI. In the aftermath of that, after all the deaths and casualties, the human survivors are put, to the test in terms of, being overrun by the AI forces, the robots. And John Connor, the leader of the resistance, leads them to victory against Skynet. But the machines have developed a time displacement field or generator, whatever it is, and they send the Terminator back in time to kill John Connor's mother before he was born. And the human resistance sends back a lone warrior, as they phrase it, to protect John Connor's mother, so that the future can be kept. A continuity is there, and there's no I suppose going backwards or changing the future so that Skynet can win without John Connor there.
Yeah, and by the way, we say John Connor because we just like saying John Connor, but it's John Connor, right? We're not stupid, but it's just, if you hear us say John Connor, it's just because we just like saying it that way.
Yeah.
But with the start of the movie, you just have that opening little not title crawl, but you do have the opening scene where it's in the future. You can see an aerial.
The Hunter Killer.
Oh, is it a Hunter? Because the Hunter Killer is the tank though as well. So the HK, because the HKs can only see in infrared, but they're not that bright, as Michael Biehn says, the man. But no, it starts with the aerial HK equivalent. Forgive me, I forgot the term off the top of my head. Flying over a wasteland. 2020 Los Angeles 2029, skulls all on the ground, cars burnt
that's the
out.
Other thing I should say, the amount of skulls piled up on the ground everywhere. It's like there's no mounds of dirt. It's either a burnt out car or a mound of skulls you're climbing
Oh man,
over.
yeah, that's nuclear for you. that's bombs dropped. But yeah, it starts with that, and you're sort of going, okay, what's going on here? Los Angeles 2029, shit's messed up. But then you have the title crawl, or not title crawl, but it pops up on the screen talking about a bit of that backstory, how humans are the resistance are fighting the machines, they've taken over the world, but that the final battle isn't fought in the future or in 2029, it's fought in the present. And then you've got that awesome credits with the letters of the Terminator going across. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then you got the credits, then you got the Terminator. And then it kicks off into the, Los Angeles 1984. The good old garbage truck driver. And what the hell? The power goes off. And then, then all of a sudden, this blue light, electric light comes out. Again, pretty cool effects for the time, And then all of a sudden, the garbage truck driver sees something and freaks out and bails. And then you've got the man, Arnold, and, jacked as it is. And mind you, that was just after Conan the Barbarian.
It was, yes.
Did he do Conan the Destroyer before this?
No, I don't think so. I think it literally
was around the
was
same
Hercules, Barbarian, and then this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys got this massive unit of a human being that arrives, and stone cold. One of the cool things I like with the scene, more from a bit of an acting point of view here, was, and Arnold has said this in interviews as well, but when he rocks up and he stands up and he does this little look to the left and look to the right, before he walks off and to the observatory there. But you see his eyes. And what his eyes do, his eyes actually move to the side first, then his head moves.
Yes.
And then the eyes look back the other way, then the
this.
head moves. And I'm like, that's a really cool little thing that, if, you're a robot, you're scanning, but like your head's following your eyes.
Like a security camera, I think is what the analogy was, I think, that I read.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that makes total sense. And then obviously runs into a couple of thugs,
Including Bill Paxton.
Oh, mate, there was Bill Paxton. There was also, oh, God, his name is just escaped me.
I didn't realize one of the other thugs was famous.
The other thug is okay, I'm going to have to, and I wrote it. Where's my notes? Brian Thompson.
Right.
So if you don't know who Brian Thompson is, right, so so let's go through. You got Bill Paxton, nice night for a walk, eh? Him.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, wash day tomorrow, nothing clean, right?
Yeah.
That's Brian Thompson for the folks at home that don't know who Brian Thompson is. Cobra. The Sylvester Stallone 1985 action movie, right?
Yes.
The villain.
Oh,
Let's
right.
bleed, pig. I want your eyes, pig.
Yeah.
That Brian Thompson. He also played. Oh God. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
I played Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
Extremely
Yeah,
painful. Oh, yeah, that's going to be one for later on to talk about. I think that's going to be a really painful thing. Yeah, and obviously made heaps of guest roles in the X-Files, Star Trek,
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff. So Brian Thompson,
right.
right? That's the one who got his fist pumped through his stomach.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who Arnold steals the clothes from, I don't know who he is. I'm not sure.
Right, he's the unknown.
He's the unknown,
Right,
but the one that survived, or if he did survive, that is. So yeah, it follows just, you see this guy come up, the three thugs, they sort of seen this guy naked walking along and they laughing about it, taking the piss out of him. And then Arnold's like, your clothes, I want your clothes, give them to me now, and then they try to stab him and kill him. And then Arnold just launches one against the fence. That's the one that survived. Or maybe not, I can't remember actually. But then goes to Brian Thompson, puts his fist through his guts, comes out with a forearm full of blood, and then steals the clothes. And then you're like, okay, all right, this guy's obviously the baddie. But you don't, again, being at the time, you don't know what the Terminator looks like. You don't know what you think it's just the guy. Because even some of the scenes, and no doubt in the HD versions, it looks sweaty. It portrays the characteristics, the other characteristics of a human being.
Yeah.
And then we and then we move out to another part of LA where then another blue light happens in an alleyway, but it's a bit more elevated. It's like 10 foot off the ground, and then a human being just slam dunks and just lands naked on the floor. And that's where we're introduced to our hero, Cole Reese, played by Michael Biehn.
And you can see in this whole sort of setup, the juxtaposition where you have Arnold who, kills a couple of guys and takes some clothes, whereas Reese is always on the run. Like he's the weaker of the two. He's trying to stay hidden and elusive. He's not out to just murder everything in his path.
No. So I think you get an idea pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie before, you get an idea sort of who's the goodie, who's the baddie. Even when he lands, because I was watching an interview with Michael Biehn, and he was saying how like there was actually the stunt guy as a stunt man that actually did like something like a 10-foot drop and landed naked on the concrete. So when you see that fall, where you see the blue TDE thing kicking in the gear, and then you see this body just smack on the concrete, that's a stuntman literally landing smack bang naked on the concrete, and you're going, holy shit, like that's okay. And so then obviously that's our hero, Cole Reese, and he's getting up, he's in the hurt locker, he's not as taking your clothes and killing you with no pain. He feels pain even when he gets up, he's feeling it. And then sees the homeless man and steals his clothes and gets chased by the cops, which I really liked that scene, because even the way, Michael Biehn, Cole Reese, the way he runs like a guerrilla warfare soldier. He's moving. He's not just sprinting in one direction. He's moving left to right. He's doing like a commando roll over the bonnet of a car. The way he gets on, he sprints into the clothes shop and gets on his knees and does a bit of a leopard crawl. Really definitely portrays and pulls off a freedom fighter, a soldier, a specialist. Again, specialist, another movie we're gonna have to talk about. Definitely gotta talk about that James Woods rant. Yeah. Your bombs.
Yeah.
And so we get introduced into these characters, and then we get introduced to Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
As well.
And if we can skip ahead a little bit, just to because I've always had this question, and I was researching it for this. When the Terminator has to go by the guns, right? And he's asking.
I love this scene.
Yeah. It's like Uzi 9mm, and he asks about the plasma rifle. The question I've always had is, wouldn't the Terminator know that a plasma rifle isn't from this time, because it has like this detailed, mind or memory bank of different things? But then I've heard people say as an explanation, it's doing that to check what level of weaponry is available.
Yeah, well, I think in the movie, right, when Cole Reese is being interrogated later on in the film, and we'll get to that a bit later, but just to this one bit here where he's saying, the Terminator just knew Sarah Connor's name and the location, and he's just being systematic.
Yeah.
So I think though he would have had a name and a time.
Yeah.
But I think though, he might not have had a full downloaded memory of what things were like at that time.
Yeah.
He just sees a gun shop and things that are the most effective to kill a human.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, when he asked for the plasma rifle in the 40-watt range, you know, and just what you see, pal. You know, I think it's just him going through his arsenal, and then
Right.
he realized this
Right,
when he's
right.
like Uzi 9mm, you know, yeah, that's that. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I think with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
I've seen people on forums and stuff talk about it and just be like, oh, he's maybe doing it to test what would Kyle Reese have access to. Therefore, if there's no plasma rifles, he knows.
that's actually a really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
really good concept.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
It was
unreal.
interesting because even as a
That
kid, I'm
makes
like, he
sense.
would know, like he'd know what weapons there are, and then people are like, oh, he would know, but that's why he's asking the check, like cross check. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that was a bit of diversion, but we get into Sarah Connor, who works as a waitress at a
Bumblebees. I don't know. Someone
Big
with
Buns.
big buns.
That's it. I was trying to think of the name.
That's right. Big buns. Yep, that's right. And she's a waitress. She's young. So I think in the script, so obviously Linda Hamilton, I think was 26, 27.
Yeah.
Same as Michael Bean.
Yeah.
The man. Was around the same age, like in real life. But
Yeah.
I think in the script, Sarah Connor's supposed to portray like a 19-year-old, 20-year-old.
Right.
You know, so you know, yeah. You know, working at the
Diner.
diner.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, not enjoying herself, not enjoying the job. It's a hustle and bustle sort of place. She's a waitress. You know, she spills, accidentally knocks over a glass while she's trying to deliver plates to a customer, and a kid puts the ice cream scoop in the skirt. I found that pretty funny. Because I appreciate, actually, know, when you see that scene, if you turn up the volume, because she's walking there with the plate, she's like, who's got the burly beef?
That's
and who's
right,
got
yeah.
this beef? It's like, oh, I ordered this, but I ordered fries. And she's like, so who gets the burly beef? And then she turns and knocks a glass over and spills some stuff on the guy's pants or whatever it was. And she's like, you know, this isn't leather, is it? And then the kid gets the ice cream scoop and puts it, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a pouch at the front of the skirt or the apron.
Yeah, yeah.
If you turn up the volume, you hear a guy in the background going, good job, kid.
Yeah.
I should have given you the tip. It wasn't until I watched it after I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You know, and then in 100 years, who's going to care? That's what her friend
That's right.
says
Yeah,
to her,
yeah. That's right.
So, and so all while that's happening, then that's when we have that great scene where oh, actually before that's when Cole Reese, you know, he'd evaded police. Sorry,
Yeah.
we actually jumped ahead here.
Yeah,
so
sorry. I just wanted to talk about the gun shop part. And
yeah,
about
no, but that's cool. But we'll just go back because obviously after Arnold's come in and taken the clothes, Cole Reese then appears in the alleyway. Does that mad fall,
Yeah.
you know, comes to and sees the homeless guy there. He's like, hey, you ever seen a real bright light guy, you know, and then steals his pants, and then cops rock up and then see him pulling the pants up and then chase him. And that's when I was saying he goes through that. He ends up going through he gets chased through the alleyway. One cop's chasing him on foot. Another one's in the cop car going around trying to block him off. And then, you know, Cole Reese then gets the gun off the cop. You know, and he's like, oh, what day is it? The date, you know, and what year? And the cop's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then takes off into this clothes shop. And, you know, he's hiding from the police. Police are searching. And that's when then you have that awesome scene where he steals those Nike shoes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And he's in the booth.
Great product
And you see
placement.
that mad product
Yeah.
placement, eh? And then the shoe comes down. He pulls a little strip, like that little Velcro thing over the top. And then he escapes. And then as he escapes to the back of the cop car that's parked and steals the shotgun.
Yeah.
Right? So that's that. And then that's when then we go to Sarah Connor in the diner. And then from there, once that scene's finished up and the kid's like, should have given you the tip, or to the kid, that's where we have that awesome scene where the Terminator just rocks up at the gun shop.
Yeah.
You know, and it's awesome. He just walks in there. It's called Alamo or something like that, like guns, and he's like 12 gauge auto loader, you know, and it's like, that's Italian. You want pump or auto? The 45 long slide with laser sighting. All that, and then obviously he ends up getting the Uzi 9mm, puts, you know, and then ends up killing the clerk with the guns. You know, he's loading pretty sure it was a shotgun shell into the.
That's right.
Because
It's like you can't do that.
Yeah, wrong, bang, and that's
You know what I do like though as well? It's not just he's got an arsenal. He chooses the right weapon for the job at every point in his, like, I don't know what you call it, murder spree. Like,
Yeah.
he knows exactly, right, I'm busting down a door, I need a short arm weapon. You know, take out the 9mm, what is it? Auto slider, whatever
the
it was.
45 long slide with
that's
laser
it,
sighting.
that's it.
Yeah,
Thank you. But when he goes into the cop shop, he has the two weapons. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like he uses all of them, and he uses them at different times. You know
Different
what I
times
mean?
for the
like
job.
It wasn't just, oh, we're going to show a scene where the Terminator knows his guns and we'll load him up, but he's going to use the same gun.
Yep.
You know what I mean? he uses all of them at different times depending on what he needs to do.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why like things like say for example like the 45 long slide.
Yeah.
You know, because as Kyle Reese is, you know, now getting things ready to rock and roll with the shotgun he stole from the cop car. He's cutting off the end of the butt to make it, and then you know putting the string around. So he's got this trench coat so he can hide it in there and walk freely through the streets. And again, he looks like a bum and he looks like a bad guy sort of idea the way he's walking. Like if I saw him on the street walking, fuck me, I'd be not walking in his direction. But that's where back to your thing about the guns. You know, that's when then the Terminator rocks up for his first victim.
Yeah.
Right. Rocks up at the front of this house. You know, goes there. There's a dog in the front yard, like a little Chihuahua or Pomeranian or something, barking at him, which that links to later on throughout the film as to why dogs bark at Terminators. And then knocks on the door, and there's this lady that opens a little bit, like the door's got that old school lock thing, you know, and opens the door, and you know, Arnold's like, Sarah Connor. And she's like, yes, I am. And it's just a different lady. It's not the Sarah Connor that works at the Big Buns.
Yeah.
It's a bit more of an older middle-aged lady. And then he just kicks that door down in slow motion, pulls out the long slide and just pumps like 6 or 7 rounds into her.
Have you seen the first time I watched this, I was in the 6th grade and I was 12, and it was literally, I think, T1 one week, T2 the next week. And that's the first time I saw these. And it was the TV version of T1 where it was cut. And I never saw the full version of that scene where he kills the first Sarah Connor until much later when I had it on DVD.
What was in the
I think literally he says Sarah Connor, and then they cut it. Though you don't see the door kicking. It literally cuts to where he's shooting her, and that was it.
Why? I never understood that when it came to like TV cuts of films.
Yeah.
Certain things, yeah, but like, so for example, like RoboCop, right? You know, when they have a TV cut of that, when Murphy gets blown to pieces, you know, they obviously don't show the whole shebang, right? That's cut very heavily. Same as the Ed 209 shooting Kenny in the boardroom. You know, that's cut, you know? So, you know, to remove, I guess, the blood and guts and the gore. But I never understood why the hell, if you're doing a TV cut, why would you cut him kicking down the fucking door?
I don't know. Someone made the decision. Someone probably on much more money than us.
What is that? Is that going to give people nightmares if someone kicks down your door? Have a night out in the western suburbs of Sydney. You see that every fucking day.
That or I don't know. Maybe they had to trim it for like TV viewing or something. And I don't know. Is that a thing?
Yeah. I guess so. The TV slots. Yeah. When they got commercials and ads back then as well.
So maybe they would chop off a little few seconds here or something.
Yeah. Maybe that's just some hard edge chopping. I guess. I don't know, but. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, in the full one, he kicks the door down, pulls the gun out, and he shoots her. And you just see hit, or you see the laser, the laser point at the other Sarah Connor's head. But then, you know, you don't see her head get blown off. You don't see, you just see the light, and then it cuts to Arnold, like, looking at Sarah, but you can't see Sarah in frame. And he lets one round off, and then obviously she's fallen to the floor. Because all you see is Arnold pointing the gun, not towards the camera, but a bit off camera, then look down, then lets off like another 6 more rounds. You don't see her getting blasted per se. Just also not to mention too, how does the Terminator know where Sarah Connor lives? Well, there was one part before the gunshot, I believe, where he went to the phone book.
Oh, yeah, and he ripped out the page.
He didn't rip out the page. Kyle Reese did.
Yes.
But he just looked at there was 3 Sarah Connors, and he's going in.
Oh, he wouldn't have to rip out the page. He can just store it in his memory
computer,
banks.
You idiot.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. God, that'd be a bad day if you had to rip the page out for him. Maybe his RAM is short.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how the Terminator knows where the Sarah Connors are, and he's going in the list. And our hero, Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, is the last out of the 3. So yeah, as we progress, then Kyle Reese does the same thing. You know, he goes to a phone booth, gets the phone book, sees the page, rips it out. Okay, so yeah, Sarah Connor 1's down. Arnold's loaded. Michael Biehn's got his shotgun in his trench coat. His boss trench coat. And then we go to and then from there Sarah Connor, you know, sees on the news at her work, because her friend pulls her in and says, oh, there's a Sarah Connor, mother of 2, shot to death. And Sarah Connor, the Lionel Hammer, just pays it off, you know, like that Sarah Connor character. And I think it's from there, that's when we get into our first Future War scene.
Yes, because he sleeps in the car. It's
Michael
like
Biehn
a PTSD
sleeping in the
sort of
car.
thing.
He's stolen a car. He's sleeping in the car, and he's looking over at the, you know, there's some construction happening on the other side of the road, and he's seeing all these big, you know, big machinery vehicles. You know, you got ones with cranes and all sorts of jazz, and he's looking at that, and then does this really cool transition to these tractored vehicles in that construction site, looking at the ground, and then it sort of transitions to the skulls.
Yes.
And then he's having a dream about the future war, and that's one of my favorite scenes, this one here. Because it really gets into, okay, we saw a bit of a glimpse of it at the start with like a flying HK, for lack of a better term, flying across and a bit of text. Now we actually get to see a little bit of action happening here, what's going on. And I really love it. The matte painting work in there and the miniature modeling is top shelf. You really believe it's there, you know. And that's where you've got Michael Biehn and his partner, which apparently her character I don't think really had a name. I've got to check the credits. I've genuinely got to check the credits on this, but what I do know is with the Terminator Resistance game that came out in 2019 for PC and PS4 and Xbox, that's all based in the future war. And there was a DLC that came out called the Annihilation Line. And in that DLC, you play a soldier that works with Kyle Reese and that exact mission, but your character's a spotter. You're a spotter. So you could actually, you got the sniper and you're just watching, you seeing Michael Biehn as it was in the movie, and the girl and the female soldier that was with him, her name was Pharaoh, which I think that's where the inspiration for the character name Pharaoh in Aliens came from. You know, because same director, all that sort of jazz. And and then you see them fighting, you know, they're doing some guerrilla moving through the, you know, in the future world there. And then you got these big HKs, these big gigantic tracked tank that's just moving around shooting shit. One of the key things I sort of looked, which I found pretty interesting, was on those HKs, if you look, there's those lights that are on top. Like lights. They're blue and white. It's like police. You know what I mean? It's you know, so I think the way they were designed is supposed to be like it was for a military defense system or some sort of, you know, police system, if you will. And they're trying to take out this HK.
And as a side thing, I remember on the Terminator 2 light gun game, that thing I think was the first boss.
Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah, cool. And you know, and supplementing the future war scene is the awesome track by Brad Fiedel. It's again, it just adds to that. The sound provides the atmosphere of that horror, you know, electronic, synthesized. It's not bombastic. It's not an orchestra. It is just, it's reflective of the environment, I think, you know, and the potential environment, and the soundtrack is just it's unreal. And
just like You Got Me Burning to the Third Degree.
Oh yeah, man, what a cracker track. And so they're trying to fight this HK, and they got these really cool grenades. They look like thermos.
They do actually.
Pumps, right? And pretty much what happens is they're trying to, Michael Biehn gets one, snaps one, throws one, and goes under the tracks. And then his partner, Pharaoh, then tries to, you know, crack the grenade, getting ready to launch it. And then the big gun from the HK turns, and then she gets blasted to shit. And then Michael Biehn runs, and then the HK blows up. The car comes along. He jumps in the car. He's been chased by an aerial. Aerial's coming, trying to shoot at him. And that scene's really, I think, iconic, because you see that same scene, that same type of scene where there's a vehicle that's going at speed on the ground, and this aerial's coming flying in hot, trying to shoot the car, all the while the guy's at the back of the car with some sort of turret trying to punch it out. And it keeps doing these quick flash shots between the aerial shooting the car and then the car trying to shoot back at the aerial. They replicate that in T2, which is really cool. They do that as well in the Terminator Dawn of Fate game that came out in 2001, the opening cutscene.
I know you're a big fan of that game.
Oh, I only like the opening scene.
Oh, right. I thought you liked
the game's
game.
trash.
Oh, right.
For me, the gameplay is a bit how you go on, but I love the opening scene to that game because it's very reminiscent of this in the original Terminator.
I know it wasn't that good a game, but I know me and you do have soft spots for horrible games.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And horrible movies as well.
Yes.
But this ain't one of them.
Yes.
Excuse me. So, and then all of a sudden the aerial shoots the car flips, car's on fire. Michael Biehn's screaming because he's getting set on fire, and then he wakes up.
Yeah.
And then he goes along his way. So that's sort of moving into, I guess, that's sort of the first act. Start moving into the second now, where the Terminator's now trying to find Sarah Connor. And I think he's already knocked out the second Sarah. You don't really hear about that except throughout a news clip. A news presenter saying that another Sarah Connor's being shot. And that's where we sort of start moving into the part where Sarah Connor's supposed to go out on a date.
Yeah.
And she's at her apartment with her housemate, and then she gets ditched up. That voice, by the way, is James Cameron on the voice recorder saying, "Hey, Sarah,
right.
this is Tom. Can't make it. Sorry, I'll call you." Yeah, that's James Cameron,
James
actually.
Cameron,
Yeah,
right.
that was his voice. Yeah. And then, we go from there, and then she decides, okay, I'm going to go out and get a pizza, watch a movie, whatever it is. And this is where, while she's eating out, having a pizza, the Terminators arrived at her apartment, and her roommate and her boyfriend are
Is it
over.
Ginger, isn't it?
Ginger, that's right. And then her boyfriend, Matt, Rick Rossovich, the man. If anyone doesn't know who Rick Rossovich is, man, Google this guy. He's been in so many like supporting roles. So Top Gun, he was Val Kilmer's navigator.
Oh, what was that guy's name? Was it
Slider?
Miller? Slider, that's it.
Slider, yeah. He's Navy SEALs, which was supposed to be like the Top Gun
I actually never
equivalent.
seen Navy SEALs.
Oh, yeah, he plays one of the SEAls. Michael Bean's in that.
That
too.
is, yeah.
And so is Bill Paxton. Right?
Coincidentally, right.
Yeah,
That's right, the
Bill
Terminator
Paxton.
trifecta.
Bill Paxton's got the best call sign. So they were part of a SEAL team, right? And Bill Paxton's actually the sniper. You know what his call sign is?
What?
God. So when you hear, it's like, "This is God. I'm ready to take the shot."
I've gotta
This
watch
is
it.
God. One shot down. It's pretty.
It's 80s.
It's all early 90s
Right.
actually,
But
but
still, late 80s, early 90s.
I think the
it's,
original idea for that movie was that it was supposed to be like how Top Gun was for people that wanted to become a naval aviator.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a similar promotion piece to like if you wanted to become a Navy SEAL.
Right.
Navy SEALs, the movie, and of course Charlie Sheen, as well as in that too.
yeah.
But Rick Rossovich,
Yeah.
and they're both
We
over.
digress.
Yeah, we digress.
We'll do that a lot.
Yeah, we do actually.
Yeah.
But Rick Rossovich is there with Ginger, and then the Terminator rocks up, pretty much annihilates Rick Rossovich, man. I'm sure he threw him through
He did.
he threw him into like 5 different glass panels
Yeah.
in that apartment, eh?
Yeah.
Like it was pretty.
It was brutal.
it was-
Even as a kid, when I saw it, I'm like, Jesus, this is like a brutal beating.
Yeah,
You know?
and then while Ginger's listening to music, I'm pretty sure they were having sex in that movie at some point. And while he's on top of her going for gold, she's listening to music on her headphones and turning up the volume while he's on top of her. I don't know. Like if that was me, and I found out like my girlfriend was listening to headphones while I'm
I'm pretty sure he
while
knew.
I'm making love, and she decides to turn the volume up, I'd be, I don't know, it'd be over, and not in the good way. I'd just be like, okay, the vibe's gone.
Well, no, I mean, like the whole thing where he's been thrown through like 5 things. Do you think you'd hear that over the headphones, given how loud it is? Like,
Oh yeah, I don't know, but no, she was singing, man. So yeah, she's listening to headphones while Rick Rossovich is getting thrown in the glass panels left, right, and center, and she's making some gigantic ass sandwich with
that's
some
right.
celery.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like using celery as drumsticks,
That's
and
right.
she's doing some operatic.
I forgot about all that.
Yeah, and then she doesn't know what's going on, all while Rick Rossovich is getting thrown into 5 panels of fucking glass. And then eventually she's there with her glass of milk and her healthy sandwich at like 1 a.m, and then all of a sudden Rick Rossovich's fucking body comes flying through the wooden door, half out, all bloodied and mangled, and she drops the shit and screams, and good old Arnold comes out with that 45 long slide with laser sighting, and then sees her and then belts her.
Yeah.
Now I think in one of the original DVD / VHS cut of that was that he comes out, she sees Arnold. Arnold's there through the door. Rick Rossovich is down by the side there. He's done. He's finished. And then she sees him and goes, "Oh shit!" And then Arnold literally goes and shoots her in the back.
Yes. Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I think in that original cut, you see then Arnold's there and just pumps like 4 or 5 rounds into her again, like what he did with the original Sarah Connor. But in the DVD, like I'm not saying the more recent, when DVD started becoming a real thing and they brought out Terminator on DVD, there was a mildly extended bit. So that's when she gets shot in the back, but then she's crawling.
Yeah.
She's crawling.
Okay.
Then Arnold just comes on top and then just bang, 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 bang. And so I think at that point, that's when Arnold thinks his mission's complete, because he doesn't know what Sarah Connor looks like. He just knows that's the house, that's the place, and job's done. All the while Sarah Connor's eating pizza, she sees the news and says that another Sarah Connor's been killed. And that's where we sort of get introduced into Lance Henriksen and Paul Wingfield. Oh, so is it Paul Wingfield who plays Lieutenant Trexler?
I know you're the technical guy.
Well, this is saying technical, man. This is just a case of who's who. But yeah, I think it's Paul Wingfield as lieutenant. The two cops,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
two police. And Paul
Yeah,
Wingfield.
so Lance Henriksen did get a role out of this, even though he didn't get the Terminator. He still got the one of the supporting roles.
Yeah, he did. Yes, and he played it pretty well too.
I think he was fourth on the list of the credits. When you see it goes, I think Schwarzenegger, B, and Hamilton. Then I think he's the fourth guy.
He's the
who
fourth
comes
guy.
Up,
Yeah. And Paul Wingfield was like the Paul
Yeah.
Wingfield was Lieutenant Trexler. And Paul Wingfield's a pretty cool actor. He's been in quite a few things, notably Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, he plays one of the admirals, doesn't he?
Oh, he's the captain. Captain of the Reliant, the
Yeah.
ship that gets hijacked by Khan.
But he gets the E-wig put in his ear, doesn't he?
Yeah, those eels, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bad way.
Yeah.
And then he kills himself with the phaser.
Yeah.
And he's also in like Babylon 5 and a few other
Yeah.
bits and pieces.
Oh,
Star
yeah,
Trek.
he's in Babylon 5, yes.
Yeah.
He plays the dad of the Doctor.
Yes.
He
yeah,
plays like the
general.
Marine General or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So you get introduced to them too, and they're getting the reports about a second person being killed, and they realize this person's also called Sarah Connor. Holy shit. And so then they end up going to the media to
Like
let
a
them
serial
know.
killer, like a name serial
Yeah,
killer.
like a serial
like an MO where they go through the names is probably what they're thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think they say in the movie, they're like, oh, you should call this guy the phone book killer.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. Yes.
And so then what happens after that is that the cops then decide going, okay, well, you know what? How about I go speak to the media, put it out in the news. Maybe then Sarah Connor will call us, the last Sarah Connor. And that's when then Sarah Connor sees on the news that the report comes out, she freaks out, and that's when then she calls the cops. She tries calling the police. Excuse me, and then realizes the phone doesn't work in the pizzeria, then decides to go to the nightclub, the Tech Noir.
That's right. Yes. Tech Noir.
The Tech Noir.
With You Got Me Burning to the Third Degree.
What a great song, eh? Yeah. Oh, it's and a great scene.
I don't know any other words from that song besides literally that line from the chorus.
Yeah, I know. We should be playing that in the background. I don't know if we get copyright infringed for that, but it's a great track. You can find that on YouTube. Just YouTube it. If you're into 80s music, 80s energy, just yep. And if you're a gym buff, you'll be definitely
If you wanna see
one
some-
RMing and supersetting like a champion listening to this song.
If you want to see some 80s dancing, just watch that scene from Terminator. and Tech
Oh,
Noir.
the dancing's so cheese.
Yeah.
It can make anyone feel like they can dance.
Yes.
You know, like
Which
even if
maybe
you,
isn't a bad thing.
it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. You can
Yeah.
go in there and do the Elaine dance from Seinfeld, and you would fit in. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
have there's no shame.
Yeah, you'll be burning to the third degree.
Yeah, until Arnold comes, and then
Finishes you off.
you let it up till the third degree. Anyway. So then that's when Sarah Connor ends up going into the Tech Noir nightclub. And while she's walking there, though, she notices she's being followed. All right, and it's Michael Biehn, but again, he's looking like a bum with a trench coat. Looks like a serial killer. I like the way they sort of the way it was filmed that way. Although you know that he's not the baddie,
Yeah.
right? Well, you don't know that he's a goodie either at the time, but you know that he's not the Terminator.
But
Yeah.
also, I think like just the way he looks and he acts, like that look in his eye. I think we're going to talk about this obviously when we get to Genesis, but it's something that Jai Courtney lacked in his character. He didn't have the same, like Michael Biehn, you can just look at his character and be like, yeah, man, this guy's seen some shit.
Yeah.
Whereas Jai Courtney, you look at him in Genesis and it's just like, you could have taken anyone else and put them in that role and it would have been the same. You know what I mean? So I think Biehn, especially in that part, with the look in his eye, how he's following.
Well, the look in his eye, you know, he's skinny in that
Yeah.
movie. If we compare it to Genesis, man, Jai Courtney, hey, local product. He's from
Yeah,
Australia,
he
by
is.
the way, right? Yeah. But he's jacked.
Yeah.
If you're in the future and it's a nuclear holocaust and you're eating rats for food, you're not jacked. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's no nutrition warehouse around where you can buy protein powder and have that physique and
Yeah.
be that built. And you know, Michael Biehn in this, he is a damaged man.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's seen shit.
Yeah.
You know, and all the while, you know, he's not a buffed up guy. He is a scrawny, you know, skinny-ish bloke, but he also looks dangerous.
And once again, the whole juxtaposition between him and the Terminator, where the Terminator's like built like a brick shithouse, is a killing machine, unstoppable, and he's like the skinny post-apocalyptic survivor who, is up against it. Like it's just a great contrast between your hero and your villain in this movie.
Yeah, but you know, but one couldn't help but think, I reckon, that like imagine if like say for the film that Arnold's character just looked like Michael Biehn.
Yeah, I don't
The
think it would
ability to
work.
mimic and react, which is very hard because I don't think you'd be able to get away with it though, because you really have to delineate who's a Terminator and who's not. But mind you, at this time, you still don't know that the Terminator, like Arnold, is a robot.
That never goes into his head for the red vision sort of like scanning things at this point.
No, the first time that happens is when they get chased in the alley after the tech noir scene.
Right.
Because that's when the first time you get the impression that, okay, something, he's not human. And then this is in this scene of tech noir, right? So that's when Sarah goes into the nightclub because she needs to get access to a phone. She notices that someone's following her, which is Michael Biehn, and she's freaking out because she probably thinks that he's potentially the serial killer that's killed the last 2 people in the news, right? And so as she goes in, she tries to call home or her apartment, and that's when Arnold's there with Ginger on the floor. Rick Rossovich, again, still leaning through that fucking door, all mangled up. Good old Rick Rossovich.
Is it a door or a wall?
I don't know. Actually, you know what? I think it's the wall. I thought it was a wooden door, to be honest. It's probably the wall.
Either way, you wouldn't be happy.
Rick Rossovich is still there, mangled up on the floor between either a wall or a door, messed up. And then Ginger's there, 8 shots in the back. And Arnold hears the message that Sarah Connor's trying to call, saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get through to the police. I've had no luck. Look, please call me back. I'm here. I'm at this nightclub called Tech Noir." And that's when then Arnold there, the Terminator, is like, "Oh, okay. Hey, well, I don't think that's not Sarah Connor." So he goes through the cupboard, the pantry, and then looks through and finds an ID or I think it's a university card or something like that, and sees that, and actually now puts a face to the name, right? And so now he knows.
Whereas Kyle Reese already knew what she looked like because he had the photo.
He had the photo.
Which we're going to go through later.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he had the photo. So that's when then eventually at the nightclub, Burning the Third Degree. That's on at this point, actually. Yeah, it's such a great song. She's now talking to the cops.
Yeah.
She says that she's here. She needs help. She thinks someone's following her, but she thinks it's Michael Biehn. And then the cops like, "We'll be there in a second. Just stay there and don't move." And this is where I think it's a real... this scene is just iconic in the film. I love it. The way Arnold enters into the nightclub, right? Because I think when Sarah Connor first went in there, she had to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
She had to, it was like $4.50, which probably to today's dollar, it's probably like $40 to go into a nightclub these days.
Yeah.
But then Arnold rocks up and he walks in and he's got
it's like that guy didn't pay.
Yeah. He just walks past the booth. And she's like, the lady there at the booth, "Hey, that guy didn't pay." And then that big, gigantic bodyguard comes up behind. He just grabs his hand. He just drops like a sack of shit. And just keeps his eyes like stone cold focused. Just doing that whole eye to head turn ratio of scanning, doing that whole thing. And Burning in the Third Degree, again, is in the background.
We can't mention that enough.
That's a great song.
Yeah. It possibly might be the theme song for this podcast. If
I think so. Yeah, 100%. Closing off.
But like an unofficial, mantra.
Great song
for this podcast.
Wait till we do Karate Kid, and You're the Best around's going to be on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Repeat.
Stan Bush.
Yeah. No, that's not Stan Bush. You fool.
Who is it?
No, that's not Stan Bush. That's
I've had it wrong all these years. You're telling me.
Joe Bean Esposito.
Right. Sorry.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's the same. But that's when the Terminator's then going in, doing his scanning, looking for Sarah Connor. And Sarah Connor's in the nightclub. And the nightclub's packed, right? People are dancing. It's very, tight. Yeah. And she's there freaking out, just waiting for the police. And then you got the music in the background. And that's when then Sarah's got like a beer bottle or a glass on the table. And she accidentally knocks it off with her elbow or something. And this transition of both music and just the visual, it's just unparalleled for the time. She knocks the glass off. She turns down and goes, "Oh shit, I've dropped the glass." And she's leaning down to go pick it up. And as that's happening, Arnold's literally walking past and looks in her direction, but doesn't see her. And all the while, the music's now transitioning from Burning in the Third Degree to the Terminator sort of theme in that really slow, smooth transition, that Brad Fiedel cracker of a score. And that's when then she picks up the glass. The Terminator's missed her and kept walking in the other direction. And then as she looks up, she sees Michael Biehn and she freaks out. And that's when she thinks going, "Oh shit, the killer's found me." And she's like, "I don't know what to do." And then Terminator turns back around and then zeroes in on Sarah. And that's when Michael Biehn does that whole legendary pull the shotgun out. Yeah. Arnold's pulled out the 45 long slide, fucking laser sighting, kicks it in the gear, getting ready to shoot her in the head. And that's when Michael Biehn comes in and just launches rounds. Yeah. And this is where you start finding out that he's a Terminator because he gets pumped like 8-9 rounds into him and he hits the deck. And that's when Michael Biehn then, goes, sorry, no, that's when he gets hit, boom, 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 boom. Arnold's down, eyes open, oh, hey, and then he reactivates, and that's when then the Uzi 9mm comes out, and he just starts paying and spraying that place. People get lit. Well, no, people don't get lit up, but that place gets fucking lit up. Like
Well,
lit.
it's burning in the third degree.
Oh, well, not anymore, because that song's over now. We just got that quality Bradford score, but that place, like, yeah, Arnold's, like, the Terminator's trying to paste Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese is trying to paste him with the shotgun.
It's a great exchange of fire. It really is, could be used as an archetype for any sort of quality action scene. You know what I mean?
And this is where that action, is probably the only, I reckon, one of the only few scenes where it's action.
Yeah.
That's action. You know, like that one scene. The cop shop later on, I don't have so much action, but that's more, it's action horror because there's not really a lot of resistance. It's just Terminator cleaning up house.
There is resistance, but like you said, it's him cleaning up house and the resistance is futile.
Yeah. Great Star Trek reference there. Love that. That's awesome. But this is where, like, the exchange of fire between Kyle Reese with the shotgun, Terminator with the Uzi. There's that great part where in between exchange of fire, because Kyle Reese does his commando dive over the bar.
Yeah.
But then he does this whole head turn, quick look, sees Sarah Connor running, and he's like, fuck you, bitch, you ain't going anywhere. Gets the Uzi and shoots the chick behind her.
That's right, yeah.
So the chick can hold, the dead weight can hold her down, you know? And then that's while, Michael Biehn's still trying to paste him with shotgun shells hiding behind the bar. And then he turns, and Sarah Connor's trying to get the dead weight off her, the girl off her. And then Arnold does this great scene with acting, and he said this in interviews. And, when you watch it after you sort of hear it, you're like, good on you. Like, that is a really smart way, because it can be pretty easy to play a robot, I think, in some degrees, to a level at that time, like where you're just an automaton.
Like Kurt Russell in Soldier.
Yeah.
But he's not a robot in that. But
no. But no, I'm not talking about complex robots. I'm not talking like David from the Prometheus movies. Like, that's complex.
Yeah.
I'm talking more like or even Bishop, from Aliens. I'm talking like a robot.
Like a Dalek on Doctor Who.
Yeah, like that. So one of the acting things that he does with this, which is really awesome, is that he sees Sarah Connor, he's out of bullets, but then he walks up and the weapon's at the upright. He's walking, right? And then he does a reload before he's about... When you notice, when he does the reload, he doesn't actually look at the gun.
It's like all, just, he knows what he's doing.
No, because he's a robot.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to look at the gun.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to see where to put the magazine, where to cock the gun. He doesn't need to look at that. So when you watch that scene, he's literally, 95% of it, he's walking, he grabs the magazine out, he cocks it in without sort of looking at his gun, loads it, cocks it, and then is about to shoot. So that's a real robotic...
Yeah.
Really cool.
I never noticed that. I'm gonna have to rewatch that scene now.
Yeah, no, man, it's really good. And then he goes about to shoot, and that's when Michael Biehn comes back out of the back, mate, with those shotgun shells, fucking paste, and he goes through the glass.
And that scene really highlights like what they're up against in this movie, because like you said, at this point he's probably had 12 or 13 like rounds put into him, and he's just still pure like killing machine, cannot be stopped.
Cannot be stopped,
Cannot
man.
be stopped. Cannot be bargained with. What else is it?
Cannot be reasoned with.
That's it. Yeah.
It doesn't feel pity, remorse, or fear.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes back to what you said earlier, right? About the whole at the gun shop.
Yeah.
Because if he had the plasma rifle in the 40-watt range, he'd be done. Maybe a couple of rounds and he'd probably be finished.
Yeah.
But this is like, he's been probably loaded with probably 20 slugs.
Yeah.
And then, shoots, as I said, shoots Arnold again, goes through the glass, and that's where that famous line comes into, come with me if you want to live. Awesome line, awesome. And then as you look, you see in slow motion Arnold's head again coming back up. And then that's when you then realize okay, this guy is not human. Because you don't know what a T-800 is. You don't know what an exoskeleton. You don't know any of this shit yet.
Yeah.
You just know there's a future war. There are what you get so far, there's a future war. There's skulls on the ground, awesome blue lighting, flying aerials, hunter-killer tanks, and that's it.
I think as kids, because we were exposed to Terminator so much, even before we saw the first movie, like when I was growing up, I hadn't seen the first movie yet, but I think in like the 3rd or 4th grade, I still would have had, I think I had like a T-1000 action figure, a couple of Arnold action figures. Like I knew what the Terminator was. So I think in 84, like you said, people didn't have that. They were seeing this movie for the first time.
Oh, dude, for me, it was video games, man.
Yeah.
Like, so I had a Sega Mega Drive and a Sega Genesis, or sorry, I had a Sega Master System and then a Mega Drive / Genesis, right? So one of my first exposures to Terminator before I even watched the movies was playing RoboCop versus the Terminator.
Yes.
Right. So I knew that it was an exoskeleton just from playing games as a kid. But at the time of the movie, no doubt for people that were there who watched it in the cinema or was, or just come out on VHS and hadn't seen the movie before, you don't know what he is.
Yeah.
This is where Michael Bihn's acting comes in the top form for this, because he's the one that's actually delivering he's giving all the exposition. He's the one that's actually explaining through words what a Terminator is, what the environment is like, he's actually giving the story through his dialogue.
Yes, it's they're great little exposition pieces, I think, and they're not overdone. Because I think you can obviously overdo exposition, but like that whole car chase scene was explaining, you've been targeted for termination and all that.
Which
sort of
happens
stuff.
after the scene we're talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, but his whole little briefings to Sarah, they actually work great for not only Sarah, but the audience. Because the audience is with Sarah. You're almost like linked to her because you don't know anything.
Yeah, or you're linked to Cole Reese as well, to a degree as well, right? As just someone that, like, or even then you're sort of like, okay, is this person going to kill me or not? But you get the vibe that he's not going to kill her because he never killed anyone.
Yeah.
He let the cop go. So you have those things. But that's where in this scene where Arnold gets back up after Cole Reese says, "Come with me if you want to live," and Sarah Connor's just gobsmacked. She's shocked. And then Cole Reese is like, "Come on, let's go, come on," and then that's when they have that run out of the alleyway. And that's where you see the Terminator POV for the first time.
Yep.
Which I really liked. I've always been a sucker for point of views, POVs in movies. Like RoboCop's one, which is really cool.
Halloween.
Oh, hell, at the start, quality. But even in this one, this is the first time you sort of see the red screen.
Yeah.
A lot of that, a lot of the coding or the lettering and numbering in that is pretty much, I think, run from either an Amiga or a Macintosh computer or something like that.
I was going to ask, what was it from?
Random sort of coding in that, But then, Arnold's chasing him down the alleyway. He's running after being slugged a shitload of times. So he's not human. You see the POV, like, okay, he's definitely not human now. Or at least augmented or something, right? And then they have that really cool car chase. Excuse me.
And he punches through the glass, which I heard later was actually done after all the main production shots were done, and James Cameron was like, "We need more. Missed a few things I want." And it was actually done guerrilla film style. They didn't have actually, I think, the rights to film in that alley or something, and they just got Schwarzenegger out. And I think he actually did punch through glass, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a thing where the glass was so he did. He actually punched his hand through that.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know about you. I've never punched my hand through a fucking windshield, but all I do know is those things are fucking sturdy, right?
Yeah.
Like your hand goes through that. Far out. If any part of your body goes through that at force, you're in the hurt locker, right? But I'm not sure if it was the idea that it was supposed to be the stunt. Like, so the stunt failed. So I'm not sure if the glass was supposed to be either weakened or have a little bit of a charge. I think that's what happens in movies sometimes. Either weakened glass or different type of glass where you can put your hand through it.
Yeah.
Because naturally glass, especially car glass, it's supposed to be like, if you shatter the glass, the whole glass is supposed to sort of crinkle up. So the idea is that you don't get sharp bits of glass. That
it's like a safety mechanism.
Like a safety glass, right? But I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was the idea was that there was supposed to be little charges or something on the sides of the windshield. So when he punches through it, the glass was supposed to weaken as he puts his hand through the glass.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So when he punched through the glass when he's on top of the car chasing him, his hand just went through the fucking thing, and they kept the take, and he grabbed it and he kept it going. And and that's when then obviously the car, he swerves off the bonnet, hits into, he falls off, the car takes off, and that's when the cop car comes out. And then, this is 1L19, I got a hit and run felony, bloody punching lights all the way, and then Arnold just gets back up, head, body steaming, and just, I always found this funny when he just, he goes up to him, and the cop's like, "Hey, hold it, man," and then he grabs him, and the guy's like, "Ah," and then just whacks his head into the door.
Yeah,
and
that's right, and throws him.
Boom, drop, and then just gets in the car. And
that's right.
off.
I thought he throws him. No, that's Terminator 2, maybe.
No, he just gets the guy's head and just plows it into the door. He just, boom, just drops him, and then just takes off in the car. But this is where that exposition comes in. And it's a pretty long process. Like, there is an initial car chase where, Cole Reese is like saying, "You've been targeted for termination. I'm Carl Reese, TechCom, DN38416." And she's probably, "What the fuck are you on about?" sort of thing, you know? And it's like, "You're targeted for termination." That's when he says, "No, he's a cyborg, a cybernetic organism."
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really cool, because she's like, "No, wait, he was breathing."
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, no, just a sec, you know, and he's trying to lose the cops all the while Arnold's in a cop car. You hear for the first time that when he's in the cop car, he hears a radio call, and then he replicates the cop's voice, you know, so you know you can mimic voices. And this is where, you know, she's like, "I haven't done anything," and this is where Kyle starts explaining about the whole process, and they're hiding in that car park. They evade the cops and hide in the car park, and this is where he talks about like an artificial intelligence, you know, built for, or not for Saknoroid, you find that out later, but you know, is an artificial intelligence, you know, and she's like, you can't, it's impossible. They haven't got technology like this yet. And this is where he goes, "Oh, not for about 40 years. And he says he's from the future. And she's like, "You're from the future, are you?" "Oh, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I am. And so is he." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Fuck you." And tries to get out. And that's, you know, so I guess from Kyle Reese's from Michael Bihn's acting in that, it's really cool because there's that desperation in that acting.
Yeah.
You know, he's, to him, ops normal for him is pretty much the future fighting Terminators. He knows nothing else. He doesn't know what the world was like before, like what the world he's in now. He just knows what he knows.
Yeah.
So you can tell there's that desperation in his acting of trying to convince her, "No, you don't understand. Like, this is real, you know? Like, can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with, you know, it won't stop ever until you are dead," you know? And she's like, "Oh, fuck," you know? And I really love that acting. And I love the part after when he talks about John Connor.
Yeah.
You know, where, you know, he talks about a nuclear war, you know, and everything's
It's almost mythical.
Very much.
It's almost like you're talking about, you know, some mythical dude, like we talk about a hero from like 400 years ago or something, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Imagine like a Highlander rocking up out of nowhere. You're like, "No, you're not. You're just a human being." But but that's where, you know, he drops the bomb on us, saying, "No, your son is the leader. Your son will brings us to salvation. I work for your son." And that's when the second another chase ensues, because they find them in the car park. And I really like, you know, some of the scenes in that. It's really cool. They do speed it up, like the car chases, to make it look like they're going faster than what they are. A lot of the roads are wet. And it's not raining. Classic old film tropes. They can do like skids and slides and that sort of jazz a bit easier.
Yeah.
But and then that's where they have a chase, and you know, they're about to rock up into a wall. The Terminator's still chasing them. Michael Biehn gets Linda Hamilton to you know, take the wheel while he's like shotgunning the shit out of the Terminator's face. You know, one in the chest, one in the head, and then they crash into the wall, and the cops are chasing them, and that's when they get taken to the cop shop. And then the Terminator escapes. So both cars crash. Cops take, like, you know, get Kyle Reese, Sarah Connor, get out of the car. They go, "Yeah, hands up." Yep, okay, cool. And then the cops check the other car and find that the other door's open and no one's in the car. So, and this is where we get into more of that exposition, because that's when they go back to the cop shop.
Yeah.
And I really like this part. Is where they get Dr. Silverman.
Yes, I was going to say that they get the Doctor in, who returns in number 2 and number 3, actually.
Yeah, that's a sad state of affairs. Number 3.
Yes, number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're at the cop shop, and that's where they're interrogating Kyle Reese, and he's explaining the whole thing, and no one believes him. You know, no one believes him at all, and they show the classic trope of him starting to, when he's being interrogated, you know, it's happening at the time. And then all the while, this is where we see good old Arnold going into that apartment room. And this is where you find out he's a machine. I love the effects in this. You know, he cuts his arm. He's got like shrapnel or bullet wound, if you will, in his forearm. And that's when he gets all the, you know, the scalpel. He gets the, you know, the medical equipment, rips his part of his forearm open. And you got the exoskeleton, you know, part of, you know, machinery inside his arm. Yeah. And he's trying to move his fingers. He can't move his fingers, and he gets the clamp, and he's pulling one down, and it's moving one finger up and down. Awesome effects for the time, and horrific too as well. You know, a lot of horror. You see a lot of slasher horror, bit of blood, bit of this, but not sort of surgical horror.
Yeah, this is like a body horror type of thing.
Yeah,
like even then with the eye, where he has to take out the eye, and you see it drop into the basin.
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, great special effect. Like we said, it wasn't Arnold's face, but it was the puppet sort of face, but which is obvious, but still excellent stuff.
Oh yeah, they did a good job even for the time and for the effects they had to sort of replicate Arnold's face
Yeah.
that way. Really, like again, 1980. Hey, it was released in '84. I think filming in '83, right? So that's
Yeah.
when you think about like I don't know body horror effects based movies back then. The only ones I can come to really that sort of stood out was like David Cronenberg films. So I think the only two I could really come up with was Scanners and Videodrome. And even Videodrome wasn't really okay. They're both body horror to a degree, but
What about Hellraiser?
Hellraiser came out later,
Right, okay.
late '80s
Yeah.
Hellraiser.
Yeah.
But again, there wasn't really so there were some films that did have those elements, but nothing. It wasn't really established then. I think I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more of like a taboo thing, more for ratings. You know,
Yeah.
not sorry, the Motion Picture Association,
Yes,
the
yes.
MPAA, going nah, that's too much.
Yeah.
But remember, this was originally a B grade film.
Yeah. So
Supposed to be a
they didn't
B grade
care
horror
probably.
film, so they had a bit of leeway. But this is sort of the first one where you saw some really cool robotic cybernetic effects.
Yeah.
You know, really cool stuff. But yeah, and then so yeah, that's all happening while Cole Reese is being debriefed. Oh no, or he's he's been interrogated. Sorry, and then he puts on the gargoyle glasses after he takes his eyeball out. You can see the red eye.
Fixes his hair.
Fixes his hair. Yeah, that's funny. I always found that hilarious.
Yeah.
He like puts the glasses on and then does the whole puts his hand through his hair and does a little head turn. Have you noticed
Like
that?
he's impressed.
Like he's like, I got this bitch.
Yeah.
I'm the man. And then goes off. Like I always found that funny. I'm like, okay, put your hand through your hair so your hair doesn't look fucked up. But that little slight turn, that whole these gargoyles look good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like he had a
shit.
moment of like I don't know, like self-reflection for a
Well,
robot.
it doesn't make fucking sense to me, mate, because as it goes in Terminator 2, it says the switches are only set to read when they send out alone, right? Which means they just do what they're programmed to do. They're not there to adapt per se, like, learn per se. Yeah, they have to adapt to the environment. But not enough to do the whole hands through the hair and a head tilt. That's a bit, yeah, good on ya.
Yeah.
Although if I was Arnold and I had that physique and had
Yeah, you'd
those
be doing it
gargoyles
too.
on, I'd be doing that too, mate.
Yeah.
Robot or not. I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm keeping these sunnies after production. Shit. So yeah, so then we and that's when then we go back to the cop shop. And this is where the cops with Sarah Connor are watching and with Dr. Silverman, the psychologist, are now watching the playback video. So Cole Reese is obviously in like a cell or a room or something at the moment, and so this interview's already taken, and she's watching it now. And this is where a really cool way of how I like it how they're trying to go. How come Dr. Silverman speaking to him is like, hey, how so you came from the future? Why didn't you bring like a ray gun or something? And he's like, and Cole Reese is like something about the I'm paraphrasing the hell out of this, but like something about the bioelectrical organism thing in the TDE, nothing dead will go. He's like, I didn't build the fucking thing, man, and they're like, but the Terminator, if it's metal, and it's like surrounded by living tissue, and even the doctor's like, man, this guy, I can make a career out of it, man.
Yeah.
There's not a shred of proof, but he's covering every box, this is awesome. And that's when then I love this part. It's when because the camera, obviously it's being filmed from a camera in the room, and it must have been like a hidden camera, I think, because he's talking to the doctor. There's a cop in the background as well standing there, and he's just like he's like, look, I've heard enough, I gotta see Sarah Connor, and then the doctor's like, well, I can't, it's not up to me. And then Cole Reese is like, well, why am I talking to you? Who's in charge here? It's like, shut up. And then he looks up at the camera as if it's like a hidden camera, because then you could see Dr. Silverman's face. He's looking at him, looks at the camera, and he's like, oh shit. He's seen the camera. And then that's when he's like, Cole Reese, you just don't get it. He's gonna find her. It's what he does. You can't stop him. He's gonna rip her fucking heart out.
That's
Let
right,
go of me. And they do that really cool pause on the frame.
Yeah.
And it's got that little jagged skip thing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same thing they do in Terminator 2.
Yes.
With Sarah Connor.
Yeah. When she
You're
loses
dead.
it.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
You're done, Silverman. That sort of thing. But I really like that. And then they try to explain. Sarah Connor's like, well, okay, I get it, but what about if he Oh, that's right. The cops show her the the body armor.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Your man must be wearing one of these when he got shot. And
Yeah. Or he's on PCP for punching through the window. Yeah.
what happens when you punch through the windshield? It's like, then Lance Henriksen's like, oh, probably on PCP.
Yeah.
Punch through the windshield, didn't feel for hours. Hey, you see this scar, man?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, thank you. And that's where then the cops say, look, your mum's coming from some ranch. Just she'll be here in an hour. And this is where you get the iconic scene of the Terminator rocking up, walks in there. I don't know about you, man. Like if I was a cop on the front desk and I saw a guy at like 1 a.m. rock up in leathers and sunglasses and that fucking big of a human being, that specimen, asking, I'm here to see Sarah Connor, I'm a friend of hers. Mate, I would be thinking, motherfucker, this guy's in a bikie gang. This guy, no, he's not who the fuck wears sunglasses late at night, and is all jacked up. And so he goes in and he's like, I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I told she was here. Can I see her, please?
Then he does the assessment thing where he looks around at the desk. I love that.
Yeah, so good, eh? So the cops like, man, it's gonna take a while, man. There's a bench over there if you want to sit. And he does that whole look. And, I'll be back. And then turns and walks out. There was that thing, I think, in the interviews. You can see him in interviews, but I think there was a bit of contention between James Cameron and Arnold about that I'll be back. So I think it was along the lines, it was scripted as that I will be back. Not I'll be back, or I will come back. Something along those lines. There was no I'll, right? And the way, and then Arnold's like, well, no, I'll say I'll. And he's like, oh no, or maybe it was the other way around. I'm so sorry. I think I totally messed that up. I think it was like, I was like, I will come back because I'm a robot. I don't know contractions. Like I'm
Yep.
And he's like, no, just say I'll be back. It was either that way or the other way around.
Yeah.
Again, forgive us. First time on this podcast thingy here, and we've got as much data as we can. But if I am mistaken, I humbly apologize for this. Just apologies.
Post in the corrections below in the comments.
100%, please. We're all learning. Okay, so and then he goes, I'll be back, and then leaves.
And then it's the big scene, the horror. Like we said, it's action, but like really horror, like unstoppable force.
Well, he drives the fucking cop car straight into the cop shop and like crushes the guy.
Yeah.
Like I always thought about the stunt man. I don't know if that's a dummy. I need to watch that. When I did see it, I'm pretty sure when that cop car with Arnold in the cop car comes flying through the fucking front desk and crushes into it, it looked like a person that was getting fumbled in that desk.
Right.
But I think it was a dummy.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it looked pretty good. It comes in, crushes him. And then that's when Arnold comes out with the machine gun and the shotgun and starts raining hell in the cop shop.
In Terminator 2, they say how many men died. It was 17, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think it was,
Yeah, I think 17's the number.
Yeah.
And I do like one of the deleted scenes in this where Trasker is shot and then he speaks to Kyle Reese about protecting Sarah, almost like he believes.
It comes around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually don't like that they cut that out. I feel like they should have left that in.
I think they should have left that in too, actually, because that's after when, like, he obviously, as the Terminator's going through, just,
and no one can stop him.
Pasting everyone,
Yeah.
lighting them all up. Actually, there was a little voice thing in the background as he first goes in and he starts shooting the first series of cops and the cops are scrambling.
Yeah.
There was like one, you can hear in the background, like, is this a terrorist? Is it a terrorist attack? Oh shit, and you hear that in the background, the cops are like just trying to lay waste. But yeah, when Traxler ends up trying to, he has like a fucking M16 or something and he's just lets off like a clip into his back and then he just turns around and just shoots him. And I think that's that moment where he's like, okay, no, this guy, you can't come into a cop shop and just still be walking the way you're going after pumping rounds left, right, and center into him. So I really, I agree, man. I really wish they did keep that scene in.
But Lance Henriksen gets it the worst. He gets like the double gun.
He gets the double whammy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets the whole...
I remember even like as a kid seeing that where it's like, everyone else just got shot with one or the other. This guy's like getting both like targeted towards him.
Mate, he got the pepper rounds of the bloody of the machine gun. Finesse, you got the main course of the machine gun with the dessert of a fucking shotgun blast.
Yeah.
That was just bang, and you're just like, oh yeah, no, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was talks for one of the sequels, not T2, but for one to actually bring him back, that he survived.
Really?
Yep. So again, very loose information there. It's bullshit. I reckon it's bullshit because there's no way someone could survive a spray of 7.62 millimeter or 5.56, whatever tickles your fancy at the time, and shotgun slugs.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's yeah, so that happens, and then Kyle Reese, is supposed to be looked at by a cop in a locked room, and then he ends up knocking out the cop, gets the keys, and he starts looking for Sarah, and Sarah's also being told to wait in a room while she's hearing the gunshots. Then you got that awesome scene of where you see the silhouette or the shadow or silhouette of a body, of a head at the door trying to open up the fucking door handle, and you're like, oh shit, like, is that the Terminator, But he punches through the glass and then opens the door. If it was the Terminator, he just
Break the door down.
I just
maybe.
walk through the fucking thing. Oh, sorry, but can we swear on this?
We can.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I just had to double check 'cause I dropped a few bombs.
Yeah, you got plenty. So
yeah,
keep
cool.
going.
All right, no worries. All right, sick. Yeah, and then you think it's the Terminator. Oh, well, if you're watching it at the time, no doubt, you might be thinking, oh god, it's the Terminator coming in for Sarah Connor, and it's Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
Again, can't talk about enough about Brad Friedell's score in that. Oh, just awesome. And then they escape, and then the Terminator sort of obviously misses them, sees them as they take off in the car. Arnold's out of ammo, and actually does look at the gun then, which I find pretty hilarious, contrary to what happened in Tech Noir.
Yeah.
And then walks after him, but then they take off in the car. And this is where then we get to, I think this is your favorite scene, I believe, where the car's out of fuel. They're in like some sort of little tunnel thingy-majiggy outside in the cold.
Yeah.
And Reese is being shot, and then Sarah Connor's trying to do the dressing and blah, blah, blah. And then I think that's when Sarah's starting to come around and she's realized going, shit, no, this guy's a machine. He's not dying,
Yeah.
And that's when she's like, tell me about your future.
Yeah.
Tell me where you're from.
Yeah.
And this is when, Kyle Reese is like, well, you stay down by day, but you can move around at night because the HK is using infrared, but they're not that bright, And then that's when they start talking. He starts talking about how the Terminators were a new thing.
Yeah.
And then it goes into that future scene.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like they're living in underground sort of ghettos, like tunnels, and you got dogs there. And I always feel sorry for the dogs. So many dogs die in these Terminator movies, I feel like. Like between 1 and 2, you got the dog Max in number 2. You got these 2 dogs. I'm an animal lover, so I got 3 dogs.
For the folks at home, there, it's not they're not actually dead. It's just for,
of course,
film purposes.
But
only.
I still feel sorry for them. You know, the movie dogs.
Yeah, I can't watch or hear it. If I I hear that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can watch as many like people get shot in this Terminator scene with Lou Ferrigno. As soon as the dogs get clipped, I'm like, nah, that's next level for me.
Yeah, not Lou Ferrigno, you fool.
Who?
Oh God, Franco Columbo.
Franco Columbo.
Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk, man. He was the OG Hulk.
Sorry.
Little Franco Columbo, bloody pumping iron. I think he does a thing where he moves a mini miner from a parking spot. He just squats one and just, I'm gonna move it here, and then that's it. Yeah, but I think Lou Ferrigno. I think he was gonna. They'll think about Lou Ferrigno. I think at a point. But Franco
that's maybe where I got confused.
Yeah. Well, because Lou Ferrigno was also in Pumping Iron.
Yes, that's why maybe also I got confused. Yeah. Too many references at once.
Oh, it was. That was a lot of references.
Yeah, Franco Columbo has that that pulse rifle thing that he takes out and starts pumping it down the tunnel.
Well, the scene starts first though with like Michael Biehn, walking into the compound. He's done his job for the day. He's done his mission. He bangs on the door, like in this underground bunker. Gives him his name, his service number or whatever it is, and they let him in. And at the door are these German Shepherd dogs. And that's so he puts his hand out to him because they use dogs to spot Terminators. So he puts his hand out, and that's when he's walking down that corridor. And that's that thing where I was mentioning earlier, where he's walking down. It's grim.
Yeah.
There are survivors obviously in this bunker, and he cries. There's that, like I said before, that scene where you got these group of people just watching this TV with flames coming out of it, like they're watching, like it's the only thing they can watch.
It's also probably like it's a nice place to keep a fire. It's contained
it's warm. Yeah, exactly. And then the kid with the rat, found food. Yeah. And then that's when Kyle Reese, after a hard day in the office, obviously he can't have a beer, but he sits down. That's when he sees got the photo of Sarah Connor.
And I always wonder this, and I think it's obviously a fan theory out there that's really plausible is that John Corner would have given him that photo, and the purpose of giving him that photo would have been to, I don't know, like make him, become infatuated with Sarah. So when he went back in time, it would have added to the need to protect her.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
oh yes, yes, possibly, yes. Which we'll get to the whole paradox thing later on, because there is a scene which sort of reveals exactly what Kyle Reese's role is in this. If you haven't seen the Terminator before, but yeah, he looks at this photo of Sarah Connor. The photo is obviously it's taken before the bombs have dropped, but I think it's after the 1984.
Yeah, it's at the end of the movie. Remember when they're at the truck stop or the petrol station?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And so, but then all of a sudden you got that really nice, Brad Fiedel music now goes from, it's not so much synthesized, it's piano.
Yeah.
It's just a very somber sound piece. It's a bit of doom and gloom, but none of that digital shit. He's gone straight down to just a bit of piano, a little bit of synth in the background, but it's not synth heavy. It's very piano heavy, very soft. And almost like remorseful type music, and he's looking at this, and he's just going, oh shit, okay. And then you start hearing the dogs bark, and that's when you're woof 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 woof. And then I love the fact in this scene, he hears the dog before anything happens. You hear the dogs go off. Then Michael Biehn just puts that fucking photo in his mouth, grabs his rifle, and just hauls ass. And then you hear the guy
he
scream.
knows straight away.
He knew, and he just grabs, goes, fuck this. And then you just hear the guy scream, Terminator! And then all of a sudden you got this guy. It's not Arnold, it's Franco Columbo, a legend, by the way.
And not Lou Ferrigno.
Sorry?
Not Lou Ferrigno.
No, not Lou Ferrigno. No. Franco, the man. He's not green, mate. All of a sudden you got this guy who's like, he's wearing like an overall, and he just rips the shit off, and he's got this jacked Franco Columbo with this. It's almost like a chain gun, but it's lasers.
Yeah, it's bigger than the pulse rifles.
Yeah, but it's almost like it reminds like a smart gun from Aliens, but it pumps lasers out, right? Yeah. And he just starts laying waste to everyone in that thing, and he's just shooting everybody. And then Michael Biehn's running down this corridor, and he's trying to take fucking pop shots, bang bang, and then that's that part where the dogs are still going off, and he shoots the dogs, and you're like, and I'm like, oh, bro, that's probably the most horrific part of the movie, hearing the dogs go, And then, he's this Terminator. He's a Terminator walking through. Again, no exoskeleton, nothing. It's just skin, just a human.
And I like the fact that it wasn't another Arnold. Like, I like the fact that they have used a different actor for that scene. I mean, because obviously this is the start of the franchise, but I think we're so used to the Arnold T-800.
Well, yes, but in the novelization, I'm pretty certain.
Is that the Infiltrator novelization?
No, this is the Terminator one.
Oh, Terminator.
And they elaborate it more in the T2 movie novelization as well by Alan Dean Foster. But I think it also in the script notes is that he's a Terminator, Cyberdyne Systems Model 101 Series 800.
Yes.
Right? So the idea is that he's an 800 series Terminator, right, which is the exoskeleton of the Terminator, and the Model 101 is the, how can I explain it? Is the model, is the physical model. So you got 101.
Yeah.
So Franco Columbo might have been a Series 800 Model 102. And they elaborate this in the Terminator Resistance game, which is really, really cool because they talk about how there's Model 101, 102, 103.
Do they talk about which model the Columbo one was?
No, they don't actually. Okay. They don't. But it's implied that way too, and that's why also I think Sarah Connor Chronicles as well, which we have to review at some point because it's one of the best TV series. It was so good. But the idea is that Model 101 is Arnold's palette.
Right.
102, 103. There's different models.
Yeah.
Same Terminator. Like frame, if you will, obviously they have to, albeit they have to adjust for size, because obviously Arnold is tall, Franco Columbo is short, so there'd have to be variations of the 800 series, but that's what that is. So it was good that it wasn't just Arnold, because if it was, Kyle Reese back in 1984 would have just, as soon as he saw him, because I think the only reason why he engaged Sarah in Tech Noir is because he saw this gigantic guy walking towards her and about to pull out his gun.
He actually said, I had to wait for him to move on you. Because you're right, if he knew it was that like exo skin or, that cybernetic skin, he would have known straight away rather than having to wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And then that's when Michael Biehn's going through. He keeps shooting. The Terminator's shooting back, and then I think he ends up doing this mad like close up on Michael Biehn as he's running towards the Terminator. And then Michael Biehn breaks into a sprint, and then this big explosion happens, and Kyle Reese gets hit to the deck, and he's looking up, and this Terminator's still going through, laying waste. But that's where you just see the red eyes. The red eyes, and it's like, oh yeah, like okay, and he's just going through, just laying waste, and the photo is burning.
Yes.
And it's bubbling up, and then obviously Sarah Connor wakes up, and it was like as if she was dreaming it, and then Michael Biehn's like, no, sorry, Sarah Connor goes, I was dreaming about dogs, and Kyle Reese like using the Spark Terminators, like that's it. And yeah, so it's a bit of a lull in the battle of the movie. Like it's a bit of a quieter part. And this is where it links to the next part, which is that deleted scene.
Yes, I was going to say, is this where the deleted scene was meant to go?
Shortly, I think it's supposed to be the next scene after this because it's still not. Oh no, because it's daytime now, right? Because she's woken up, and that's where that deleted scene.
Where she finds Cyberdyne in the phone book, and shows it to him.
Oh, is that the same? Is that the same one as the one where where Kyle Reese starts breaking down?
Yeah, because that scene's a bit long. She's on the phone to her mum, I think. Oh no, I could be talking about two different scenes.
No, the mum's later on. The mum is when they're in the motel later on in the film.
Yeah.
This is the one where again you've watched it a bit more than I have recently.
I just watched the deleted scenes the other day actually, but I might be getting a couple of them mixed up. But literally, she takes the Cyberdyne reference out of the phone book and shows him, and then I think, does he chase after her or she runs off or something? If it's the same scene, and then he ends up breaking down and saying this isn't his world or something like that. And
again, I don't remember the lead up to that. The part I do remember in that scene though is when Michael Biehn is there. They're in like, well, not the forest, but like they're out there outside, and there's trees, there's grass, and he looks at it and he just starts breaking down because he's just like, you have no idea how lucky you guys are. Like, I don't know what this is. This world is beautiful. Like, you have no idea what it's like where I'm from. This doesn't exist. Trees don't exist. Grass doesn't exist. Sort of idea.
I don't mind that they cut all this though.
Yeah,
you like it. You like this scene.
I liked it because it provided a bit more perspective. Like it shows a bit more vulnerability to Kyle Reese. I think because he's a man that grew up after the war. He's and he's now exposed. Like, how tempting would it be? Even if you got your mission, right? You got your job. You know what you have to do. But you go back. You grow up in a war torn area, and then you've gone to a place where there's life. There's trees, there's grass, there's birds, there's life, so for him I reckon it'd be very hard, to sort of not, because he doesn't know any better. So now he's in terms, he hasn't been exposed to what the normal world is. And so that's where him breaking down about that to me is just going, wow, it's a real vulnerable moment for him because he's finally had a chance. Like all his time being leading up to that is just being the job, right? Like it's just being him having to protect her and surviving.
Yeah.
Now he's just like, look at this, and that's why that's why he goes.
Yeah. I just think like that scene probably slows down the movie a bit, which is probably why they took it out.
Probably.
It was after they get out of the tunnel and that's when it skips to them going to the motel, isn't it?
That's right. And Tiki Motel or whatever.
Yeah, and making the bombs and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because they go to the motel, and then I'm not sure if in the movie he says for her not to call anyone, because she's like, I'm dying for a shower.
Yes.
And then he's like, I've got to head out and get some supplies.
Yeah.
And that's when then Sarah Connor's then talking to her mum.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't tell you where I'm staying, Mum. And then I can hear like Sarah Connor. The shot is Sarah Connor on the phone. She just got out of the shower. Obviously, a towel around her, of course. And you could hear her mum on the other line going, I don't know. I'm hearing on the news. People are dying. Sarah Connors are dying. I need to know where you are. Come home. Come home. And she's like, Ma, I can't. They said, tell me where you are at least. I'll come pick you up. And she's like, I can't. And then all of a sudden, that's when she goes, you know what? All right, I'll tell you where I am. I'll give you the number at least, right? And then you're at a cabin, right? Which I believe it's supposed to be her mum's cabin. And you're hearing now Sarah Connor over the line going, all right, the number is 555, and then you hear the mum going, got it, I got it, okay, I got it. And then Sarah Connor, the line is like, "I love you, Mum," and then it pans up and it's a Terminator.
Yeah, but there was also a deleted scene where she was telling her mum go stay at the cabin to be safe.
Oh, true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking I'm getting it confused. I think that might have been at the start of either the scene, the Cyberdyne one, where she pulls out the page, or Reese chases her into the forest once again for his vulnerable moment, or that could all be one big deleted scene. My memory's sketchy. I've watched a lot of Terminator these past few days and a lot of deleted scenes, and they're all sort of melding into one.
Yeah, we'll post in the comments, to be honest. We'll obviously go back and watch it ourselves, but yeah, let us know, just so we can get some of our extended facts underway.
Yeah, because there's a scene where the Terminator, I think, says to her in her mum's voice, "You told me to go to this cabin." But there's no action or
Yeah, okay. I'm not tracking.
But how the
that at all.
Terminator knew that she sent her mum to the cabin, I don't know.
Okay, that's probably.
Maybe that's why they deleted the scene. They're like, we can't explain.
Well, I know you couldn't really explain why why the Terminator ends up fixing his fucking hair and does a little side tilt, going, "Hey, I look like a fucking boss."
That's more acceptable than like a plot hole. But how did the Terminator know that Sarah Connor sent her? You know.
Yeah, no, that's true. But didn't the no, but hold on, didn't back at the cop shop, right? When Trexler's like, "Hey, look, it's gonna be look, come, chill on this couch. It's very comfortable." Before he says that, he goes, "It's gonna take an hour for your mum to come from camp so and so," which I think is the same place where the Terminator went to.
Okay, so maybe that's also maybe this was like a scene where they were playing around with the story.
And also thinking about it too, if you go back, or they don't really, it's obviously elaborated, but you know the part where after the Terminator kills Ginger and Rick Rossovich is still lying there dead outside of the door wall, Rick Rossovich, right? Before he sees the ID,
yes,
he picks up a book, and it's like he just grabs like 5 pages at once.
That's right.
Check,
and,
check, down.
And that's the book that he has when he's flicking through, isn't it? In the hotel
it's like a diary.
room.
No, it's like a diary.
Room. Yeah.
So that's what I thought, that maybe he's actually, as he's scanning through that, he might have gotten the cabin details of where her mum is. It doesn't elaborate.
I'm happy to understand that he's a Terminator and his job is tracking people down.
Yeah.
He would have found that somehow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a big deal that we don't see him do it.
No, but obviously for pacing of the movie and the like, right?
Yeah.
Again,
we
you have to remember this was originally a B grade movie, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it was.
Yeah.
Well crafted story, but again, when you have things like making movies, you only got so much time. Like a runtime can only be so long, so they can get more movie screenings. That's usually how it works.
But unless it was in the book, unless it was in the notebook that he flicked open, then we didn't see it.
No, I don't think you do see it, because you just see him grab like 5 or 10 pages at once and go flip, 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 close. Like he doesn't go through every page one by one.
Right.
So you find out then at the cabin, speaking in Sarah Connor's mum's voice, it's the Terminator, and then Arnold then calls the number, and it's so weird. Hey, I've got a question. Okay, you're talking to your mum, right? Your mum's busting your chops over the phone to say, "Tell me where you are. Please tell me where you are." And you're like, "Mum, I can't say where I'm at, but I'm going to give you the phone number to where I'm at." Because what the Terminator does is gets the phone number, calls him up, and it's like the guy answers, "Cheeky motel, give me your address there." Why would you tell your mum, like you think you're talking to your mother? Why would you not just say to her, going, "I'm at the Tiki Motel, but I can't tell you where I'm at, but here's the phone number."
Yeah,
I might have totally misread that.
Yeah.
Just now I'm thinking
no,
about
that
it.
makes sense. I've never thought of that before.
Unless you didn't know what. Well, no, you know what the place is called.
Yeah.
Because they went to the reception to book the room with the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? Get one with the kitchen. Got one with the kitchen.
Yeah. And the dog's there, which barks later at the Terminator.
Yeah. So, I just picked that up, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I
don't know.
Moving on.
That's interesting. Anyways, as we progress. So that's when then Kyle Reese comes back. He comes back with, all these grocery bags, and it's like, what do we got? Ammonia, we got nitroglycerin, whatever it is, or what's for dinner. And it's like, he said some other term, but i.e. translation in subtitle, pipe bombs.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, that sounds delicious." And he's like, "Nitroglycerin based Not much. Learned how to make it when I was a
Yes,
kid.
yes.
That's almost a mad ad for pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Nitroglycerin base. Learned how to make them when I was a kid. Carl Reese pipe bombs. Yeah.
But
And-
you know what I like though? We're going to skip ahead for a moment. I apologize, but he throws 5 of them. He has 6, right? I think he makes 6.
Yeah.
And he throws 5 of them, and they do nothing to the Terminator on the bike. And the only one that does something is when he sticks it into the.
Yeah, don't spoil it. You're jumping ahead.
I know, but I'm just saying, like I think when I saw these getting made as a kid, I'm like, oh, they're going to do some damage, and then like they don't do anything.
Well, if you play the Terminator Resistance game, you actually get the pipe bombs, the
Do they do
original
more than what his
nitroglycerin
pipe bombs
based, made by Kyle Reese, right?
Yeah.
And when you do throw them at a T800, okay, we're pumping ahead to Terminator Resistance here, but when you do throw one at a T800, it knocks its health by half. So I
right,
guess if you have 6, and if you're able to safely place one near next to the Terminator, it would fuck it up, but it'd probably still be operational. But then you throw a second one, I think it's almost a guaranteed thing.
Right. Okay.
You know.
Okay. So the game improved the Kyle Reese pipe bomb.
Well, it'd be a pretty shit thing to have in a game if you had pipe bombs and you crafted them and you threw them at T800s that did nothing.
It'll tell you that you're hopeless in the face of ever moving death.
Hey man, if Kyle Reese knows, he's from the future, man. And as I said, he bought those ingredients because he used to make them when he was a kid. He'd know they'd be effective. It's just probably a bad throw.
Yeah.
But we're skipping ahead.
We're skipping ahead. Sorry.
This is where we get to a little bit of a revelation, if you will, where it's a very vulnerable moment where Cole Reese is there shirtless, Sarah Connor's there and Cole Reese is looking out the window, and it's getting dark, and Sarah Connor's like, do you reckon he's gonna find us, isn't he? And he's like, maybe. Probably he will, and then I think it's where Sarah starts getting a little bit sweet on good old Kyle, because she asks him, is there a girl, is there someone special? And he's like, never. And she's like, never, and there was always this line that I don't know why, me personally, I always liked it, because it's when Sarah Connor goes, oh, so much pain, because you could see the way it's shot, and you see all these, Kyle Reese's back, sort of side on, back on, you can see all the scars and stuff. And Kyle Reese goes, pain can be controlled. You just disconnect it, And then she's like, so you feel nothing, and it's almost like, is he, he's not a Terminator, but it's like his mindset, he has to have a mindset almost like one, to be able to do his job, because he can't afford the luxury of, he doesn't have the luxury, didn't have the luxury. He can't afford it, of feeling emotion and falling for someone.
Well, there's no downtime post-apocalyptic Holocaust with hunter robots after you.
Oh no, you're just doing the job's on 24/7.
Yeah.
But that's when then his vulnerable moment comes into play here for real, and he starts saying, John Connor gave me a picture of you once, I don't know why at the time, and he said how he memorized every curve of the picture. I'd find that a bit weird if my general, I'm a sergeant, and my general gave me a picture of his mum, and I looked at that picture and I started going, oh, that picture, oh God, that picture's growing on me.
But like I said,
I love the curves of that picture.
Like I said, there's a purpose behind it.
Oh, of course there is. Yeah, but it just I find it weird. Because then that's when then
as a kid, I never thought of this stuff. I never thought, oh, why did he give him the picture and why did he have the picture? And then you watch a movie enough times and you read enough like fan message boards with theories and stuff. You're like, oh yeah, that would have been done on purpose. Like, why wouldn't it have been done on purpose?
Yeah. And then you have Kyle Reese is like, John kind of gave me a picture of you once, don't know why at the time. I memorized every curve, every line. Then he goes, I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you, always have. And you're like, okay, yeah, shit, that's real. Just fall in love with the general's daughter.
No, mum.
Oh, mum. Shit, mum. Sorry.
Yeah.
General's daughter.
This is the time paradox.
Oh, that's a time paradox. And this is the time paradox. So General's Daughter's another
Travolta.
Okay-ish
Yeah. I didn't mind. I've seen it once. It's one of those one and done movies, but we're getting off track again.
James Woods is good in that, actually. Anyway, digress. But and this is where Kyle Reese gets up. He's embarrassed, and he's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And he's packing the pipe bombs. You see how aggressive he's packing those fucking pipe bombs? I'd be like, oh shit, man! Like he's aggressively like punching the bag, loading them up with pipe bombs.
He knows they're his pipe bombs.
Oh, they were made by him when he was a kid, right? Nitroglycerin based. And then that's when Sarah Connor, comes up and she kisses him, and then there's a really cool Bradford Earl back to the piano, romantic sort of music in the background. Well, not romantic, but very somber music again with the piano. And then they have a love making scene. And that's when you start going, okay, all right, they're having sex, probably unprotected, because I doubt he bought condoms when he was buying his equipment.
I never expected this twist to happen in the movie as a kid. Like I said, I watched this as 12, so I wasn't as maybe forward thinking, expecting as much. When you go into the movies now, you can be like, oh, this is going to happen, and it does. You can sort of pick it out. But then I was like, oh wow, he's like his general's dad, and like. Yeah,
well, you sort of don't really find out about that.
I guess
you don't come to that you don't really come to that revelation though. At that moment,
yeah,
it's just two people having sex, and it's an '80s movie, right?
Yeah.
There's two things almost guaranteed in '80s movies: titties and sex, right? Yeah. And B grade, no doubt. B grade at the time it was made, or the impression that it was going to be, right? But it's more at the end, when she's pregnant, and then you go, okay, that's John Connor's father. That's John Connor's dad. So that's what happens. Kyle Reese ends up being John Connor's dad, in case you hadn't seen The Terminator, right?
Although you should have seen it already, and if you haven't, you should watch it.
Oh, please.
Right now.
Just watch it. Yeah, just like stop this right now and go watch it.
Yeah.
And then come back and join us. But this is where that paradox comes in, because it's like any paradox, and no doubt there's it's a movie. Yeah. But the one thing that I always questioned was the paradox. Is that always the way it's supposed to be? Because it's a chicken and egg theory.
Exactly,
really, right?
Yeah. I thought about this a lot after I saw it when I was 12.
Yeah.
And it was like, just spun me out. Like the twist in this spun me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. And time paradoxes have happened in other, time travel movies and whatever else. But like, this is the first one I saw, and it made me be like, wow, like, so if he doesn't send him back, he actually unmakes existence at that point or something. Is that how it works?
Or was the first time, the very first time this happened, was the dad someone else?
Right, because the whole thing about like when they go back, they're actually making a new timeline.
Yes. So I think the moment that they've gone back, the timeline's already changed.
Now you're spitting me out more, man. I don't know if I can handle it.
Nah, dude, but then in the future, before they go back in time, John Connor gives Kyle Reese the picture. So that's before they go back in time.
Yes. But he gives it to him ages before he goes back.
Yeah. So, and this is where I'm thinking maybe what happens the first time it happened. The very first, it's probably in a constant loop. The paradox.
Now we're getting into like
cause and effect
like
shit.
Time space theory and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if our podcast is designed for that.
Not
we're getting
for science. Not for science. If anyone here knows this stuff, please let us know, because I was always thinking the first time.
Yeah.
Was Kyle Reese wouldn't have been the dad. It may have been someone else.
So then he created the paradox.
So then maybe the paradox. I don't know. Maybe it was another guy that looked like Kyle Reese, and then when John Connor was growing up, because he never knew his dad, that maybe he's like, hey, you look like you could be my father from the late 80s, early 90s. Here's a picture. I have a look at my mum. I genuinely don't know.
You thought of this more than me, obviously.
It's a question that got raised, but that's what paradoxes are, right? It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's a paradox,
right?
But then so they have this lovemaking scene, and then pulling the sheets. They're pulling the sheets hand on hand, grabbing those sheets. They're really grabbing those sheets, and then and that's when then the Terminator's rocking up on the motorbike, and I love the shot of just Arnold on this bike, Uzi in one hand, I think it was, or a machine gun in one hand, and riding the motorbike with the other.
Glasses.
And the gargoyle glasses. Yep, the gargoyles, and then and that's when then Cole and Sarah just had sex. They're happy, they're like, oh, think fast, trying to do a little joke, like throw the jacket at each other.
It was like a bit that I like that. That's like lighthearted, in the middle of like this violent pursuit they're trying to escape from. There's like, she feels comfortable enough to have a joke with him, sort of thing.
Yeah, or she fell in love with him. Yeah. Or they fell in love with each other, And then you hear the dogs. And it's like, oh shit. And then that Terminator point of view, seeing the dog. He doesn't kill the dog.
This dog survives.
This dog lives.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thank God. Yeah, this dog lives. And that's when then all of a sudden you see the Terminator's POV, looks at the dog, looks at the door, targeting scanners online, ready for termination. And then the next minute, he just kicks down that door and just lights the place up. Like he just one hand machine gun spraying left to right, and he's looking around, kicks down another door like the ensuite, and just and then that's when Kyle Reese and Sarah sneak out the back and they escape on a vehicle, and then the chase begins again.
We've skipped a great scene though, where the Terminator has to choose from an answer to tell the cleaner at the motel that he's
right.
in the room.
That's
And it's
right.
like, yes, no, fuck off, arsehole, and something else. And it's like, wow, man, this is like really systematic of,
Oh, that's right. It's before that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's after. It's just before that. It's before he gets
Yeah,
on the
I
bike to
just
go
thought of
after
it.
him.
Yeah.
He's in that dingy apartment,
Yeah.
and he's looking through the notes. Oh no, I think it's before. Sorry, I tell a lie. We totally messed up. That's how we got the cabin's address.
Okay, so that's how
That
he
makes
got it.
total
Yes,
sense. I
okay.
totally. Okay. So
So that, it was on a piece of paper.
yes, it
Okay,
was. That's
okay.
100% it. Because after the chase in the cop shop, right? That's it. He's in that dingy apartment, and he's got his gargoyles are off. He's
Yeah.
not wearing the gargoyles at this point in time.
Red eye
It's
out.
quite ironic though, the fact that it's daytime and the gargoyles are off, but nighttime the gargoyles are on. But anyway, he's going through the diary. And he's looking through, and you got the eye, and you can see flies on his head, because it stinks. And then you got the knock on the door, boom, 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 and it's like a cleaner. And he's like, there's a big fat guy with a cigarette in his mouth, and he's like, "Hey man, you got a dead cat in there or what?" and then that's where you see the POV that comes up with the list of options, like what you said, and it's like yes, no, go away, fuck you, asshole,
Yeah.
something else. And
Chose the most appropriate one.
and he's like, "Fuck you, asshole." Fuck you, asshole. And then the guy's like, just walks away. Right? And that's when the Terminator keeps going through the book, and that's when he finds out the cabin's
Cabin
address.
address, yeah.
Because then it lights up, and
Okay,
he's like,
so
oh,
we've
yeah, shit.
rectified that plot hole.
Yep, and then he walks out of the room with his gargoyles on. He's got the fucking shotgun
That's
or the
right.
assault
And some guy
rifle.
comes out
And
and
some guy
sees
looking
you.
at he walks out of the door and says, hot damn!
Yeah.
And then walks away. And as he walks down the hallway. So yeah, that's that. That's how he finds out about the cabin.
Yeah.
All right, we solved that. So now we fast forward. Yeah, the Terminator kicks down the door of the Tiki hotel room, lights it up. No one's there. Kyle and Sarah are then, they grab a guy who's near a ute, rips him off, and then they take the ute and drive. I think it's a ute.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and then takes off, and then Arnold gets back on the bike, and then just chases after him. And this is a really good chase. This is where they're going throughout LA trying to evade the Terminator. Terminator's trying to shoot him. Sarah and Kyle switch places. So Sarah's driving, Kyle's lighting up the pipe bombs, trying to throw them at him. They keep missing or just missing. Some of those shots are really good, actually. Like even with the stuntman on the bike, some of those explosions are going off. There's like 2 of them that were pretty close to the bike, and I'm like, wow, that's not bad. And I think that was also like guerrilla filmed.
Yeah.
That was no studio shit. That was just very much a guerrilla film. I think the one that wasn't really, I'm not sure if it was background screen, was when the Terminator's rocking up to the Tiki Hotel and he's got the gun in one hand and riding the motorbike. I think that might have been behind a screen per se.
Right.
But the chases themselves, it was all guerrilla filmed. And that's where the chase begins. And as, Kyle Reese is launching these pipe bombs and they're just not hitting him. He's just evading him on the motorbike. And then he's about to launch one of them and he's holding it and the Terminator shoots. And it goes through the glass of the back glass of the ute and then hits Kyle Reese and he drops the bomb. And then, oh shit. And then, Michael Biehn, the man, always cops it in films. We know this.
Yeah.
He always gets bitten on the fucking hand or he fucking dies. He's almost like Sean Bean of the 80s. You know what I mean? Like he cops it all the time or he's
His
gravely
off-screen death on Alien 3.
Oh, don't get me. Don't get
We're going to have to review that at some point.
I like Alien 3 personally. I actually don't mind it. It's grown on
No,
me
but you like
a bit
the,
of
I know you like the director's cut.
assembly cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like Alien. I don't mind Alien 3. It went through a shit production, but
Yeah.
I do not like I don't like the whole fact they killed him and Newt off. Like that was a bit of a mistake. But anyway, and then the Terminator's closing in on him. Kyle Reese is in the hurt locker. This is where Arnold pulls out the revolver. So again, gun for every scenario, mate.
Yeah.
Starts shooting up, and then Sarah tries to knock him off the bike between the gutter, flips the ute. Arnold falls off the bike, and then a big gigantic truck fucking as the Terminator gets up, smacks him front on. He's holding on. I like the fact that he's trying to hold on to the bottom of the truck as the truck's hitting the brakes, and then as the ute's flipped, they're trying to get Kyle out there so they can continue to escape. And in the end, the Terminator gets up, hijacks the truck. The classic line, "Get out," with the busted face.
Yeah.
And then they're chasing Kyle and Sarah on foot. And that's when that pipe bomb happens where Kyle manages to throw the pipe bomb in the back of the semi or I think it was like an oil tank or not an oil tanker, but it was a combustible sort of substance in that truck anyway. But he puts the pipe bomb in the back of the trailer bit of that truck. Oh, the tray in the little circular area, puts a pipe bomb in there, and then he hides in a garbage bin, like those big dumpster bins. And Sarah keeps running, and the thing blows up. And then this scene always sort of, I don't know. I understand what they were trying to achieve when they filmed it, but when the truck blows up and you see like the fire sort of just make its way to the dumpster bin, and then you see Kyle Reese get out, go, oh, fuck this shit, it's too hot. And he's getting out trying to fucking evade the bin or get away from the bin, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Sarah's there and she's just like, thank fuck, this is over. And then you see the body get out of the truck.
Yeah.
And it's walking slowly and then it sort of drops. Very probably similar to like the T1000 with the, what was it? The nitrogen.
Yes.
Yeah. But a body gets up, it's walking, it sort of drops, falls to its knees, falls, lies down, and then you see the burned remains burning, and then the head turns, but it doesn't look like an exoskeleton. To me, it just looks like char, when you see the face or the head, and then they think it's over. Kyle's still alive, Sarah's alive, they've done it.
This is where we say goodbye to Arnold. For the
Here's
last
where Arnold's done
movie.
now. He's finito. And then this is where we have that reveal, where with the good old effects, good old Stan Winston, the exoskeleton emerges from the ashes again, sort of replicating James Cameron's dream, nightmare that he had. And then that's when the Terminator's on foot with a limp, right? Because I had a limp before actually when he got hit by the truck.
Yeah,
he had a limp, and they start chasing him, and that's when they run into a computer factory. There's all this machinery and all this shit.
Yeah, and great little deleted scenes there where you find out it's the Cyberdyne factory.
That's the Cyberdyne factory. That's exactly it. And this is where when they go in there, they turn everything on, or Kyle Reese like, turn everything on, interference, so they can't track us, man. And it doesn't sound like that. I'm just trying here. So he's, they flick everything on and the Terminator's chasing them, and then get to a part where they get up the stairs. Or they're going up a set of stairs and the Terminator finds them. And this is where, Cole has his, defined moment here. And he tells, Sarah to run. And he's like, run, Sarah. And she's like, no. And he's like, fucking run! And then, I like how Kyle Reese goes, motherfucker, and gets the pipe and just starts belting the shit out of it to no avail whatsoever.
Which mirrors the T2 fight at the end where they use the pipe, like the T1000 uses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, use the pipe. That's right. Yeah. But I like how with the model, the T800 model, how when he hits the head, how the head just flexes to one side and flexes to the other. Like I loved that. It looks so
very well
good.
done. Very well done.
And then you got the stop motion sort of stuff, which again looks a bit dated now, but hey man, for 1984, it would have been like, especially for with the expectation that it's possibly a B grade movie, the tits, i.e. awesome.
Yeah.
And then the T800 smacks him around a little. And then like Kyle Reese, he's all banged up, face is bloodied and everything, and then he has one more pipe bomb, and then he does that. I like how he does this. Terminator's approaching him, and he's like all like, he's hunched over, so the Terminator can only see his back, and then he's trying to light the pipe bomb, and he's like, oh, I'm fucked up, man, I'm gonna try to light this thing, and then he lights it up and then shoves it through the chassis and then just does his commando roll down the stairs. Yeah. I love that part. He just puts it in and just rolls back. And then this thing goes bang, explodes hard. Sarah cops some shrapnel in the leg, from
Kyle Reese was taken out by his own special pipe bomb.
Yeah, man, yeah. Built for when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Died by the pipe bomb.
Yeah.
So man, live and die by the pipe bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that is not a paradox. That's like fully
cynical. No, that's a closed cycle. That's a closed circle, mate.
Yeah.
That's a closed circle.
Yeah,
actually, no, more like a straight line, start and end, and there's no going back. Yeah, sorry. Not a circle. And that's where Sarah Connor coughs some shrapnel in the leg. She's in the hurt locker a little bit. Goes sees Kyle. Kyle's fucked. He's dead. He's done. Eyes open. Classic Michael Biehn death. At least he went out with a bang. And then that's when you find out you have the Terminator that ends up bouncing back up, where he's just his torso and his arms and his head, and that's it.
Typical sort of horror thing too, that you can't kill, like it's unkillable. It's always going to come back, sort of thing.
You know what freaked me out when I first saw that? And it still does a little bit now. Like, it's the music.
Yeah.
the music that kicks in when that happens, that real high pitched synth shit, it just sort of it just smacks you in the face, comes out of nowhere, dee, 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 and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And and she's trying to escape, and it's clawing after her, and she ends up crushing him in a press. So what happens was she goes through this tight little area, and she gets to the end, and there's this little grate thing that she pulls down, and so the Terminator's trying to stick his hand through it, and the fingers are barely touching her face, and then find out the Terminator's in a press, and the classic, you're a Terminator, fucker.
Yeah.
Push the button.
Great one-liner to close out the movie.
Mate, it's one of the best one-liners before the kill. Yeah. Oh, I love it. There's so many like mad one-liners before the kill. That's a great one. You're Terminator, fucker. Push the button. The press comes down. The blue electricity, from the future shit is all like fucking him up, and the hand's stuck out there, and then the Terminator red eye goes, Terminator's dead.
Yeah.
And then we sort of, and then it fast forwards to the cops have arrived. She's sitting there by the ambulance. They see Kyle Reese being put in a body bag.
The body bag, that was also guerrilla filming. They didn't have permission to film where they were filming, and the body bag was actually a suit bag that was the James Cameron.
Yeah.
I read that last night. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
It better be a high quality suit bag.
Yeah.
Like a Van Heusen or a Giorgio Armani or something like that. They're definitely breathable. It'd be breathable if it was a high quality one. If it was a cheap Tarot Cash one. And
you only have to be in it for 2 seconds. If they
you have to hold your breath.
Yeah.
You'd have to hold your breath.
Yeah.
And Kyle Reese gets, taken away. And then it sort of, after that, it just skips ahead. And this is where it gets to the end of the movie. Where Sarah Connor, it's like months later, she's pregnant, she's driving, I think she's driving down towards the Mexican border, and she's in her little 4x4, she's got the dog, German Shepherd,
which I never realized that as a kid. It's only something I realized later is she just bought a dog to have a dog, but she actually bought the dog to sniff out Terminators, obviously.
100%.
Yeah, and I realized that, and I'm like, later on, and I'm like, that's actually something cool. Like, they don't actually, she doesn't say it. It's a show, not a tell, obviously. And also that she feels more comfortable with a gun. Like when Reese gives her the gun in the motel.
That's right.
She feels it looks like she has a very uncomfortable feeling around it, whereas here she just simply takes it and puts it on the seat next to her. Like
a Magnum too.
Yeah,
It's all a piece of hardware she's got too. It's like,
And you see that evolution of a character, Yeah.
Although that being said, right, like if I was Sarah Connor and I just gone through that massive ass ordeal, right, I would not be keeping a 6-shooter on me.
Yeah.
That's going to do fucking nothing. Now, granted, you can't get any plasma rifles in the 40-watt range. I know this. But I'd be having, very similar to how she was in Dark Fate, as much as I despise that movie, I'd be having a fucking a rocket launcher of some description, some high-end yield output shit in the bloody trunk, and I'd probably have a machine gun or a shotgun. I found the shotgun's probably the most effective thing against the bastard, because you see in the movie... It stuns him. Yeah. So you have time to get away. Whereas machine gun fire seems to do nothing. Yeah. So if it was me, it would have been, instead of a 6-shooter, right? I'd be like, nah, fuck that. Give me a Remington 12 gauge, please. Or the what was it? The 12 gauge autoloader. I'd have one of those.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was watching and going, a 6-shooter ain't gonna do.
But I suppose
much.
That's the transition into number 2, where she starts. Because she starts stockpiling weapons, which is where they get all the weapons from in number 2.
They do. Yeah. And the cool thing is, in the recently released game, the 2D No Fate, Terminator 2D No Fate, which is it's a fantastic game. If you're into video games, but like old school games, like the ones that have gone Mega Drive, SNES, because there was Terminator 2 on that as well back in the day. Those games were they were okay for the time, but this is a really fun game to play. And the very first mission, you're actually with John Connor, and you're actually in Mexico, and you got some bandit starts kidnaps John.
This, yes. Yeah.
And then you have to chase after the bandit, but you're in Mexico. I believe it's Mexico.
Yeah.
With not Uncle Bob. That's what Arnold was called in T2, but the
guy who holds the armory in number 2.
Enrique.
Yeah.
Enrique. That's it, Enrique. Yeah. But the first mission is like you're there. She's there with her stockpile of weapons, and John is still very naive young kid. It's before John gets taken away and put into foster care.
Yeah.
So it's linked to that a little bit. But Sarah Connor's there. She's recording tapes for her son. which you sort of you get a call back to that in Terminator 3 from memory, which we'll cover later because he listens to tapes from his mum, which are the same recorded ones. Or I think Linda Hamilton actually recorded that for the movie, but it's the same thing, right? And then that little kid comes up and takes a photo, little scan for $5 or whatever it is, and then he speaks in Spanish, and then she's like, "What did he say?" And then the petrol stop owner's like, "Oh, he says a storm's coming." She's like, "I know."
Yeah.
And then that
That's a
awesome
good little-
shot driving into the storm,
Yeah.
with the mountains in the background, the storm brewing. I'm like, oh shit, hot, fucking bring me more, please, and then that awesome Terminator theme, end of film.
Yeah, great way to end the movie with another good one line.
Yeah.
But that's the photo that is given to her that she gives to John, which is then given to Kyle. That's the photo he had.
That is exactly the same photo.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
And also another paradox we didn't discuss from a deleted scene with that whole building where the final confrontation happens being Cyberdyne, the chip in the arm. So if the Terminator never went back in time, Skynet never would have been developed at that point.
Well, yeah, I guess, you're right. Or it may have been developed,
but different.
Maybe at a different date. Because you have to remember, like, the idea for the exoskeleton, like, I think because the idea, actually, you're right. Because I'm just thinking about it, because the idea is that ultimately, and we go back to the start when we were saying how, like, James Cameron sort of really he was really ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Really thought way in advance about AI and defense systems and all that sort of stuff. But, I no doubt that the military in some capacity would have developed an AI system to run its defense network.
Yeah.
And would have probably had the same effect in this universe, like, in the Terminator universe, down the track anyway, you know. But you are right, though. Like, the fact they took the arm and the chip out of the brain in that deleted scene, which I think that scene was supposed to be after when Sarah Connor is by the ambulance and Kyle Reese is in the Van Heusen body
and the
bag.
cops are checking out the...
And then they're like, and then the two guys are like, "Hey, what's this? Oh, some neural net processor. Oh, this is... Okay, we better... let's cover this up and... meet you back in the office and we'll talk business. I think we got something on here, and then it pans up and it's like Cyberdyne systems.
They should have kept that. Like, to me, that's another great scene. And look, I know they're playing for time and they had a certain feel that they wanted to get out of it, and you can't put every scene in.
Yeah.
But that would have been good to add another paradox thing in and link it, to the whole how was Skynet created. You know what I mean? Because now we have to wait for part 2 to find out that they kept the arm and the chip.
And this is where, going back to 2D, the Terminator 2D No Fate, right? That mission after that first one, I think it's the second mission, I believe. But it's the one where Sarah Connor goes into Cyberdyne. So in number 2, there's a part where John Connor, John Connor and his buddy, the redhead kid.
Does he have a name? I was thinking this last night.
I can't remember.
I
don't know. It's probably in the credits somewhere. I'm not sure. But when they use that mad little Atari computer thing to hack the ATMs, and then he sees the picture, and then she's like, oh, his mate's like, oh, your mum must be pretty cool, huh? And John's like, no, she's a psycho. She tried to blow up a computer factory but got shot and arrested. In the game,
you try to do that.
No, the second mission, that's you. You're Sarah Connor going into Cyberdyne trying to blow the shit up, and you get shot. And then you get sent to the hospital.
Right.
And then John goes into a fucking home. Now, you don't see the scenes of John going into the foster home, but that they actually play that out of her going into Cyberdyne.
Right.
Before she gets shot and sent to the mental hospital.
I have to play this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part 1 of our Terminator 1 and 2 review.
Yeah.
Join us for the second half of part 1 of our episode for Terminator 2. Sorry, that was a lot to get out there. I numbers just running through my head.
Yeah, no, true. And then what we'll do is we'll go through some like favorite scenes, sort of at the end of both parts 1 and 2. But yeah, man. But any comments posted up below, and thanks for your time.
And we'll see you soon for Terminator 2, second part of our first episode.
Listen over here. Listen over here.